This is South Jersey Sports Leader, 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Holy Toledo, Hanging with Hennig is live on your radio, 97.3 ESPN FM. We are also streaming on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Oh boy, we're here. It's live. It's real. You know, I haven't done a Saturday show after Billy Schwein in about 3 years, maybe 4 years. So it's kind of like, you know, trying to ride a bike. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to ride a bike. Yes, we are streaming live on the X platform. We are streaming live on YouTube. I am not currently on Instagram. I will let everybody know that there's a little bit of a technical issue with that. Unlike Billy Schwein, I don't have any help. I'm doing this all myself. But we got a great show coming up for you on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up in less than 20 minutes from now, actually about 25 minutes from now, Oscar Budajin. He is the commentator for the Phillies Spanish broadcast. I want to get into Oscar's mind for a couple of reasons. One, because the whole situation that happened in Miami with Nick Castellanos, this team has bounced back. They bounced back in a way that I don't think anyone really expected, right? Number two, the Phillies are a team that when you really break it down, they have found ways to win. And I think that last night was a huge psychological win for this team. Now, we'll get into why it's a big psychological win in a minute. But, of course, don't forget, you guys can join the conversation. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And we are live on YouTube and X. Just give me a follow at Josh Hennig on both platforms. Oscar's going to talk to us about how this team has rebounded. And I really want to get his perspective on some of the players on this team who have elevated, because I think we all can agree. The Phillies have spent a stupid amount of money on a group of players, right? They've invested basically $500 million into Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Aaron Nola. They have spent pretty hefty money on this team. Aaron Nola's injured. Nick Castellanos hasn't fully lived the expectations, right? So, when you look around, there's a part of you that wonders. There's a part of you that's curious, right? Who's going to step up when those other guys don't? And one of those guys who has stepped up, and stepped up big time, is the pitching staff. Now, outside of the Taijuan Walker debacle last night, overall, this Phillies team showed you why they are better than the Mets last night. Now, it's no guarantee they're going to sweep the weekend series, but it is a guarantee that the Philadelphia Phillies, when they play up to the level of their abilities, they are a championship caliber team. Now, we'll get into a little bit later in the show what exactly they need to do to kind of cross that line between contender and potential World Series champion. But last night, I don't think we give the Phillies enough credit for that win. So we're going to talk with Oscar Budajin about that coming up in about 20 minutes from now. Also, we're going to hear from 2014 NFL first-round pick Marcus Smith, the former Eagles pass rusher. We're going to get into some of the behind-the-scenes. He's going to give you some great insights about, frankly, why some people have put him in the bust category, right? There were certain things that happened in Philadelphia that I don't think we always talk about, right? We don't always talk about the variables that go into being a championship team, being a 5-10-year NFL player. And Marcus is going to give us some insights about the coaching staff, about some of the behind the scenes with his career, how the transition from college to the NFL was nowhere what he expected, and his journey from wanting to end his life 6-7 years ago to now being a spokesman to help other athletes around the NFL and different sports when it comes to mental health, as it is, for those who don't know, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Also coming up at 2:25, Jesse Rendall. He's the executive director of the Make the World Better Foundation. Me, Billy Schweim, and the crew will be down there next Saturday in Seattle City at the pickleball court for the Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament. Conor Barwin's foundation has raised over $20 million for numerous community projects, including building parks, building recreation centers, and we're going to raise some more money next week with the great pickleball tournament. Jesse Rendall, he will join us coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. But first, let's get to the Phillies. Last night was a night where you saw this team stick with it. You saw this team come together. You saw this team find a way. And I don't think we appreciate that enough. We don't appreciate enough when a team finds their way. When that game got tied 2-2, when you took out Zach Wheeler and you brought in Taijuan Walker and he gives up those blasts. I mean, that Pete Alonso blast. I texted Nick Earnshaw, Nick's Nuggets last night. I was like, this is the nightmare every Phillies fan doesn't want to see. The moment when you realize that your guys are not good enough. It's the idea that for an organization like the Phillies, they could have easily rolled over. They could have just made it a 2-2 game and slugged their way, because they kind of were slugging their way. When finally Tidwell got knocked out of the game, initially the Mets bullpen shut you down. And after Zach Wheeler, he had almost 100 pitches when they pulled him out. I don't know if they should have pulled him out in that moment or not. I understand that before the game, they probably discussed they want to keep Zach Wheeler to around 100 pitches. But man, there was a huge mistake bringing Taijuan Walker into the game. Now, we can all argue for hours here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig live hanging out with you in the Dr. Squatch Natural Soap virtual studios on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig. We can argue for hours about whose fault that was. Was it the pitching coach? Was it the manager? Was it the front office mapping it out? Whoever's reason it is, it was a bad idea. Didn't work out. But the Phillies offense responded big time. And you could hear through the television when Castellanos and Real Muto scored. By the way, if you ever wondered how slow Nick Castellanos is as a runner, did you see JT Real Muto running right up behind him? That gives you an idea of how different those athletes are, right? Nick Castellanos, average physical ability for a baseball player. JT Real Muto, dual threat quarterback in high school, was originally recruited to play quarterback in college, but then switched to baseball. When they made that double slide, the place at the bank, the fans erupted. You could feel the energy through the television. It was almost like for someone like me who's worked in media for 20 years, I actually heard a bit of a distortion in the audio. I heard a little bit of crack in the microphone because you could tell that whoever set up the field microphone, whoever had the microphone audio settings back in the truck for Apple TV Plus, They were not prepared for that moment, for the crowd to get that loud. That was the moment. That was the situation that I think the fans injected the players with a new level of confidence. Now, again, I don't know if they're going to win the entire series. I don't know if they're going to sweep it. But I feel pretty comfortable right now that they're going to win 2 out of 3. And not just because you have Mick Abel tonight and you have Jose Luzardo in Sunday Night Baseball. By the way, we hear both Phillies games tonight and tomorrow versus the Mets right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Your home for the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers, as well as playoff baseball here in South Jersey. We will have the Phillies games tonight and tomorrow night versus the Mets. But let me tell you something. Excuse me. The energy in that building was off the charts. And it actually felt like that team just is going to be able to carry that momentum. Now, again, it's no guarantee, all right? Canning is having an incredible year. I don't think people give the Mets general manager enough credit because everyone focuses so intently. They're so aggressively focused on signing Juan Soto that the refurbished rebuild, shall we call it, right? It's like the general manager of the Mets took an old car and refurbished it. That's what we did with the rotation. And so Canning, I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game tonight at all. I think tonight's game is going to be a low-scoring one between Abel and Canning. So to me, it's almost a coin flip tonight. Then tomorrow is going to be very fascinating. David Peterson has a history of being very good against the Phillies. Not just because he's left-handed, but because of the fact that Peterson is the kind of pitcher who neutralizes what the Phillies do best. You look up and down this lineup. Nick Castellanos, Alec Bohm, Bryson Stott. If he doesn't play, it's Edmundo Sosa, right? JT Realmuto. All of these guys, they have long swing pass. Peterson is very good at getting it on your hands. So it makes a lot of sense that game is going to be tough as well. So I anticipate this is going to be a great weekend series. Let's hear from you guys out there listening on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are live on my YouTube channel and the X platform at Josh Hennig at 973 ESPN on the X platform. Let's get into it right now. We got Cole from LBI. By the way, shout out to Cole from LBI. Cole from LBI, the Mets lose, and he shows up. He says, I didn't want to tune in because my Mets lost, but I had to stop by and hang with Hennig for a little bit. Well, Cole, we thank you for hanging out here on 97.3 ESPN. The Mets are in a rut right now. Losers of 7 straight, but the Phillies lost 9 out of 10 recently. So I don't think the Mets are going to be losing forever. But I do think that last night's game, Cole and LBI, you saw that the Mets bullpen, it's been overworked a bit lately, right? That bullpen has been taxed. It has been used. It has been called upon a little bit too much. And it came the bear last night. I mean, they scored 8 runs from the 7th inning on. Absolutely nuts, the Phillies offense exploding the way it did. Jeff from Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973. We go from a Mets fan to a Phillies fan. He says, exciting win for the Phils last night. Sad that Wheeler didn't get the win. Yeah, by the way, he says, also amazing day at the beach. Jeff's making me jealous because I'm in here in the studios. He's on the beach. It's a beautiful beach day, by the way. By the way, I don't know what Billy Schwein and Nick Earnshaw were doing in the studio when I got here. I am sweating in this studio. I got to turn down the AC during the next commercial break. But anyway, Jeff in Ocean City on the beach. The Wheeler thing is a bit perplexing because I saw people asking on social media why, right? I saw people on social media asking, why did you pull Wheeler? Why did you bring in Walker? Well, they pulled Wheeler because he was close to 100 pitches. I think he was at exactly 98 when they took him out of the game after the 5th inning. Could he have gone back out there? Yes, he could have. But I think Rob Thompson is managing this team with the idea that I don't need Zach Wheeler to throw 110, 120 pitches in June. Just like with Christopher Sanchez. I don't need Christopher Sanchez to go 9 innings and get past the pitch count that we as an organization have put on him in June. You need Sanchez and Wheeler to max out in October. Because at the end of the day, the regular season's just what gets you to the postseason. When you're in the postseason, that is what changes everything. That is the separator. That is the part of the game that, let's be realistic. You're Philly fans. Do you really care if you win 10-2 or 3-2 in June? You care if they're going to win in the postseason. And you don't want to lose to the Mets again in the postseason. It is sad. Wheeler didn't get, Wheeler is Wheeler the most unlucky pitcher in baseball? This is now 2 straight years that he is having a Cy Young caliber year. And there's another guy who is just statistically that much better. Is it just me? Seriously. Am I the only one that looks at Zach Wheeler and is like, man, that guy, he is just great at the wrong time? Because last year, Chris Sale had that amazing season. And you could argue if Zach Wheeler didn't have that one bad game, he probably would have gotten more consideration for the Cy Young. Even though Zach Wheeler led all of baseball in quality starts. He had more quality starts than Chris Sale. So there's kind of that rub, right? There's kind of like that, oh, man. But this year, it's Paul Skeens. And unless Skeens trips up somewhere along the way, which he hasn't so far, he's probably going to win the Cy Young. I know he's a prohibitive favorite to all the sports books. And Zach Wheeler is either 2 or 3, depending on what book you look at. But, man, it is absolutely wild that Zach Wheeler, another amazing season, and he's probably not going to win an award for it because he happens to be playing at this. It's like back in the day, if you were like a great pitcher in like the 90s or early 2000s, you were never going to win a Cy Young. Because Greg Maddux won 4 of them. Tom Glavine won a Cy Young. John Smoltz won a Cy Young in the 90s. And then the late 90s, early 2000s, it was Pedro. Pedro was just on fire. And then Roger Clemens at 40-some years old, he wins a Cy Young. So if you were a great pitcher in that time era, you didn't have a chance. It was absolutely nuts. Steve from Ventnor chimes in on the text board at 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on Hanging with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We are live on my YouTube and X platforms at Josh Hennig. Steve from Ventnor says, Josh, I've been studying the landscape of baseball, and I've come up with a short list of players I think the Phillies could potentially target. All right. Let's either give a thumbs up or thumbs down to Steve's picks here. All right. He says, names I'm suggesting. He says, Byron Buxton or Griffin Jax. I have no interest in Byron Buxton. He is the kind of player that gets you excited and then disappoints you, either because he gets injured or because he's streaky. And what you're probably going to need to give up to get him might be a lot. Now, I like Griffin Jax. If you told me that you'd have to give up too much to get those kind of players, I wouldn't be against it. He also mentions Chapman and Ref Snyder. I love Chapman for the Phillies. He'd be the perfect replacement for Alvarado. I don't know what the Red Sox give me. I don't know if the Red Sox know what they're doing. I think the Red Sox are an organization that was so intent on getting rid of Rafael Devers, they couldn't think of anything else. I don't think the Mariners are trading Munoz. I really don't. I think the Mariners still think they're in a playoff run. But they're not bad suggestions there from Steve and Ventnor. I'll keep the messages coming in. 609-403-0973. And, of course, we are live on my YouTube and X platform at Josh Hennig. By the way, We are here today thanks to my great sponsors here on 97.3 ESPN. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Dr. Swatch Natural Soap. They are the sponsor of the virtual studios. If you're watching on YouTube and X. Plus, don't forget about my guy, Nick, over at Zia Nicola Pizza. Now, he's only open till 5 today. He's got a wedding to cater. So, if you want to get the best pizza in Seattle, you got to go over to Zia Nicola on the promenade off of 43rd Street between now and 5 p.m. to get that slice of za, as my buddy Joey D. in Ventnor likes to say. And, of course, my guy, Dave Clement Performance Method in Egg Harbor Township. We are so thankful to them for bringing you Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We'll dig deeper into the Phillies. Oscar Buttigieg joins me next on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Phillies baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Heated rivals go head-to-head.
Kyle Schwarber, and this place is going bananas.
The Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets.
It's out of here! Juan Soto stops and celebrates.
Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern and tomorrow at 6 Eastern.
It's Phillies Mets on 97.3 ESPN.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clement Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, ClementPerformanceMethod.com.
It's the construction reduction sales event all month long at Matt Black Kia. Right now, put 0 down with 1.9% APR for 60 months on every new 2025 Kia Sportage or Sorento in stock. Plus, we want your trade, any make, any model, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. We'll even lower your current car payment or give you 2 years of free maintenance on any new Kia. That's lower payments, more peace of mind, and free maintenance at MattBlackKia.com. It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia. Call 215-703-8526 for details.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Stylin'. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning?
RV wins!
Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast?
RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99 plus $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever. Right now at the Home Depot.
Town Square Media has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Get these great deals today. Get a $50 gift card for just $25 at the Ravioli House or Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. Get these great deals right now at seizethedeal.com. Don't wait any longer. Chances are these deals will sell quickly. For more info on these great deals, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You blitz all night.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios here on 97.3 ESPN. Right now, as promised, we are being joined by Oscar Buttigieg. Of course, he is on the Spanish broadcast, been doing it for many years. And for those who don't know, and Oscar might not even remember, I go way back with the Spanish broadcast guys because at my last radio job, they used to have the Spanish Phillies broadcast. It's Oscar. It was Bill Kulig and all those guys back in the day. And, of course, they've been doing a great job for a long time. Oscar, thanks so much for jumping on today. How you doing today?
Josh, what a pleasure to be here with you on this Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon. It's a great ride. Like Super Bowl, the Phillies are in first place. The draft, the NBA draft is next week. There's a lot of things happening in the city, so it's beautiful.
For you, I wanted to ask you first because, a lot of people, when Nick Castellanos got benched in Miami, right, that whole fiasco, but it seems like it almost helped. It almost worked in reverse, right? The idea that he's come back, he's played better. The team has kind of picked themselves up once he got back in the lineup. Do you feel like this team came out of Miami almost more focused, more together than they even were before?
Look, I think when Bryce Harper went down with that injury, I think the team had to come together and say, you know what, we have to carry the load. And one of the beauties of these is that the bottom of the order is the one that has been carrying the team. Alec Baum, we know Alec Baum have been hitting, lights out over the last month or so, the last 3 or 4 weeks. Together with Turner. But basically, guys like Stott over the last 6 days have been carrying this team. He has 6 RBIs. We saw yesterday driving in 3 runs. Brandon March have been hitting at a pace that he has not hit all year. So the bottom of the order is the one that is carrying this team. Kepler has been playing the Kemp defense. Has been completely. He's not a regular first baseman. He's played primarily in third base. He's played some first base. He's played some outfield, but he's done a tremendous job defensively and have during the latter part of last week he started hitting. At a much better pace. So look. The bottom of the order has been the key here. So that's kind of a key highlight carrying together with what Baum and Turner has been doing.
Oscar, when you just mentioned about the no Harper thing, I think at first a lot of people were freaking out, right? It was like, oh my gosh, where's Harper, right? But man, it's almost like these guys, they kind of had to go through figuring out how to be without Bryce, and then they realized, hey, we're still some really good ball players, right? Guys like Trey Turner, guys like Schwarber, Bryson Stott has come alive all of a sudden. Do you feel like these guys have, obviously they don't want to be without Bryce Harper, but do you think that they're finally hitting that groove of hey, we're some really good ball players, we can do this?
Yeah, the reality is we know what these players are capable of doing. I think the most important thing is that they have to do it at the right time. It's been a roller coaster. The reality is over the last 3 weeks, it's been a roller coaster. We were up by 4 games, then we're down by 5.5. Now we are one up above the Mets. Look, baseball is a grind, right? It's 162 games. you have to make the playoffs, and the most important thing is that you have to be hot at the right time. The 2022 Phillies were hot at the right time and got us to the World Series. The 2023 and 24 version, even though we had probably a better team overall, we were not able to make it to the dance. So, look, it's very, very important to be able to be hot at the right time, particularly in baseball at the end of the year. The team is doing, look, the Phils are doing what they need to do. They're winning games. They have a wonderful record now at 46 and 30. And look, we're hot right now. We just need to keep it as long as we can, and we need to finish the year in a great note so we can be ready for the playoffs.
Talking with Oscar Buttigieg, of course, he is on the Phillies Spanish broadcast. You can hear, of course, he's joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Phillies Mets 2 more games this weekend. Oscar, when you look at this team, because you mentioned about, what they're going to be moving forward, what is this team moving forward? Do you feel like they have all the pieces? Do you think that they're a player or two needs to be added? Because at the end of the day, a lot of fans out there, they're looking at Dave Dombrowski and they want him to do something. If you lose your life on social media, you'll realize the cesspool of all the people who are acting like the Phillies are the worst team ever when they're in the lead of the National League East. So for you, do you think it's a player, two players? If Dave Dombrowski walked downstairs and said, Oscar, I got a question for you, what would you tell him?
I think the core of the roster is there. I think the most important thing is that you need some complementary pieces, particularly on the bullpen. Look, let's look at last year, right? And I know the bullpen did not do a great job during the postseason, but we don't have Alvarado right now. We do not have what's the name of my Hoffman? We don't have Hoffman, and we don't have Esteves. I mean, those are three major pieces that we ended up the year with that are not right now. Those were the high leverage guys. Alvarado was not that great at the end of the last year, but those are three major arms that you're missing that you had last year that you don't have right now. Right now we have Kirkering is probably the best reliever we have right now together with Strom. I mean, Romano has been up and down. I think he's capable. I think they'd be giving him a little bit more rest so he can – he's coming back from injury. He had an injury in his shoulder that is a very, very, grinding things that it takes time to come from. But the reality is that you right now have two high leverage arms, which are Strom and Kirkering. You cannot pitch them every day. So they need help. They need help in the bullpen. Walker has, we saw what happened yesterday. Look, I know he's trying to do his best. He was throwing at 94 miles an hour. The reality is, you're going to be facing teams like the Mets that are playoff teams with players like Alonso that are going to hit you home runs, or McNeil's that are players that have been there before. So we need probably a couple arms. I know that Alvarado is going to be coming back to us on August the 19th. We'll probably need to leverage him for the last month and a half. But the reality is you're going to need a couple arms for the playoffs, and I'm sure Dave is looking into that as we speak.
When you mentioned about the arms, let's talk about two of those arms, Oscar. Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez. People are talking about Wheeler as the ace, but I don't think this team is where they are right now. If Ranger Suarez isn't on the hot streak that he's on, and Christopher Sanchez, you could argue, is having a better year this year than what he did last year for the Phils. Yeah,
Luzardo was the best pitcher in baseball the first 2 months of the season. He's hit a patch here, which I'm sure he's going to get his. He has an arm talent that is unbelievable. He's been having some issues getting the ball in the middle of the plate, and they've hit some home runs against him. So he'll get it right. Look, the strength of this team is the starting rotation. The starting rotation of the Phillies with those top five and potentially top six or maybe even seven once Andrew Painter comes in is best in baseball. There's nobody that'll have the arms the Phillies have. So you have a surplus of starting pitching. The question is going to be, what do? Do you move one or two of those guys to the bullpen? What happens with Nola once he returns? Look, this team was 5.5 games behind first place when you did not have Harper, Nola, or Alvarado. And we've been able to make up this time. This team has a core that is capable of winning the World Series. The question is, those couple arms that you need in the bullpen to that can be high leverage arms that can help and complement and push us to the next level. That is what this team, and I know that's what Dave is looking for. But regarding starting pitching, with your question, I mean, Ranger is right now the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, what he's done over the last 8 outings, I mean, he has an ERA just above 1, and he's won, 7 out of the last 8 decisions he's had. I mean, he's pitching at an unbelievable pace. And look, hopefully Ranger can keep it up. We know what happened in the second half of last year. Hopefully he can keep it up, and he's capable of doing it. Look, he's a free agent at the end of the year, so he's playing for a contract and doing the best he can, and you got to ride the wave. I mean, and Christopher Sanchez has Christopher Sanchez have not reached his full potential. So I'll just say that. He has not reached the full potential. I think he's like a piece of clay that we've been working with. He has a tremendous fastball now at 96, 97 miles an hour. He has, if not the best, one of the best change-ups in baseball. Look, if he throws strikes, the sky's the limit for this kid. So look, we have the best, and we have the best prospect, the best right-handed prospect in all baseball. There are good things ahead for the Phils. I mean, I think the most important thing is short up that bullpen, and let's ride it.
Well, you just mentioned, that's a couple more I got for Oscar Buttigieg here from the Phillies Hispanic broadcast, joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. You mentioned the starting staff. Well, Nola's going to be out till August, it looks like. So, but what do you do when Nola gets back? Do you bring up Andrew Painter? Like, if everybody is good to go, I mean, you can't start 8 guys, right, Oscar? I mean, at some point, someone's going to have to be left down. To me, Wheeler, Ranger, Luzardo, Sanchez, they're in. That's 4 right there. So who is the 5th guy, Oscar?
Call the Mets and call the team nearby, like the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, they would be dying to have any one of those arms. I mean, so look, it is a tremendous problem to have. The way I say it is, look, let's start planning now, but let's cross that bridge when we get there. I mean, let's have a healthy Nola ready for the playoffs. Let's have Andrew Painter coming up here and doing what we know he's capable of doing. I mean, he's I mean, every time that I see that I hear Dre Dombrowski talk about Andrew Painter, I mean, it's like this kid is the real deal. I mean, I saw him pitching live in Clearwater. My God, this kid is really, really out of this world. I mean, the way his fastball rises, I mean, he's a really, really talented pitcher, and we're going to have him for years to come. Look, it's a tremendous problem to have, and I mean, we're the envy of many, many major league teams out there with having the wealth of starting arms that we have. And look, Mick Cable, he has a great opportunity today to go against the Mets and showing what he's capable of doing. I love his fastball. I love his curve. I mean, look, the kid is special. So look, it's a tremendous problem to have. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't mind just putting a couple of those arms in the bullpen and letting them. I mean, look, I like and I know he's never been in the bullpen, but Mick Cable, with that fastball that he has, 97, 98, and that curve, I mean, those are 2 great pitches that he can support the team maybe in the back end of the bullpen toward the end of the year. It's a great problem to have.
It's interesting you mentioned that because, a lot of Philly fans, if they're old enough, they'll go back to, remember when the Phillies put Brett Myers in the bullpen for those couple of years because they just needed somebody out there, right? So I'm almost wondering, like, is Abel the best candidate? Do we even think Nola could be a guy who could go to the bullpen? I mean, I know these starting pitchers, they need a lot of time to warm up and prepare, and, the bullpen mindset is very different than a starter, right, Oscar?
Yeah. I think Ranger has proved to us over the years that what he's capable of doing, he can pitch anywhere because he can mix. That the beauty of Ranger is how he can locate pitches. I mean, on our staff, he's the guy that can locate. I mean, Wheeler can do it too at a much faster, at a higher speed. But the ability that Ranger has to pinpoint the plate and keep batters off balance is just fascinating. I mean, he's a beauty to watch. I mean, I truly, truly enjoy when Ranger goes to the mound because that is a true pitcher. I mean, I'm not going to compare it to Greg Maddux, the way Greg Maddux could do things, but
right.
He's special. I mean, he's Greg Maddux light in his ability to locate pitches and keeping batters off pace. So look, who is the best arm? I mean, there could be multiple arms. I told you, Mick Cable, I do believe that he could potentially do it. I mean, he's never done it in his career, so it's a challenge. But maybe you can move him out there once Anola comes in or Andrew Painter comes up. You can move him up there and see what he's capable of doing. And look, he has a tremendous arm talent. He's also a tremendous ship from a potential trade. I would not want to see him outside the organization, but look, we have – I think you have in baseball, you have windows, right? Right now we have a window. We have the talent of Zach Wheeler, probably number 1, number 2, or number 3 pitcher in all baseball. We have to take advantage of that window right now. We have Bryce Harper, one of the best hitters in baseball. We have Kyle Schwarber. I mean, with those Schwarber bombs, I mean, that are going to be coming in as the weather continues to heat up. It's going to be 100 degrees in Philly next week. So, and I know they're not playing next week here. They're going down to Houston, and they're going to be away for a week. But look, that when the weather gets hot, I mean, both Aaron Nola and Kyle Schwarber enjoy that weather. So I'm looking forward to it.
Air conditioning down in Houston, right, Oscar?
Unfortunately, they're going to have the roof closed. One thing that is interesting about the Phils, we're in first place, and we're 50 home runs behind the pace that we had last year. And I'm sure that's going to catch up very soon. I mean, I see a Kepler getting hotter and getting more home runs. I see a Castellanos doing that. But Schwarber and Harper, I mean, we know what they're capable of doing. And look, Trey Turner is playing the best season he's played with the Phils. He's improved defensively. He looks more relaxed at the plate. I like him at the top of the order. His on base percentage is at the 360 mark, which would be great for a leadoff. I mean, hopefully Harper can come back soon. Now, one thing about Harper, I wanted him coming back at the right time. I don't want him to rush. There's no need. Look, what we proved right now in first place, he don't need to rush it. I know he wants to come as soon as possible, but Harper is more important in September and October than he's important right now for this team.
Excellent points there. Oscar Budicin, of course, you can catch him on the Phillies Spanish broadcast. Him, Bill Kulik, and the whole gang up there. Oscar, great.
Angel Ivo Castillo is the other. We're a gang of 3 out there just bringing it home.
Castillo as well. Can't forget about him. Oscar, great conversation. I really appreciate you jumping on. We'll do it again soon.
Hey, we'll do it soon. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We are live on my YouTube channel and the X platform at Josh Hennig. Back to the text board. Coming up next, 609-403-0973. Don't forget, coming up later in the show, we will be talking in the next hour with 2014 NFL first-round draft pick Marcus Smith. We'll get some details in what is an NFL offseason like for a player in between minicamp and training camp. All that and more still to come. Josh Hennig, hanging out with you, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Have you heard? Nobody beats a Bennett Chevy deal, and I mean nobody. All this month, Bennett Chevy is selling new Chevys at the GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you as much as 20% on your new Chevy. That's right, you keep all the rebates and you pay the same GM supplier employee price we pay. That's up to 20% in savings. And you can save even more with available 0% financing. Thinking about buying pre-owned? Well, again, nobody beats Ben at Chevy. Just bring us any clunker you can, and we'll give you a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned on our lot. Yes, I said a minimum 10 grand for your junk. Who else is going to make fantastic offers like Ben at Chevy? Nobody. That's who. Plus, you'll never experience any haggles or hassles or need to negotiate because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Together, let's drive. Ben at Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and benatchevy.com.
If Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea was your best friend, it would be the kind of friend that starts an impromptu dance party in the supermarket aisle that turns into an all-day pool party rager at your place, and you don't even own a pool. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea turns any day into a legendary adventure. It's smooth and refreshing real iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Shop 4th of July savings at the Home Depot right now and get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery, like Samsung. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators, upgrade to tech you can trust with Samsung appliances. The Home Depot has what you need to simplify your routine. Don't miss 4th of July appliance savings at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
It's the sizzling summer sales event at Matt Blatt Nissan, where family fun starts with a brand new ride.
0 all month long. How about 0% on the road for 60 months? Or pay 0% on a Pathfinder. Also for 60 months. That's 0 down, 0% and 0 payments until August. And with our 4-day return policy, you simply can't make a mistake.
Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Nissan wants to get you released so you can upgrade to something your whole crew will love. But don't wait. When they're gone, they're gone. Click or visit MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit, 1666 for 1,000 finance through NMEC. Negative equity may be refinanced plus tax tags and $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or visit MattBlattNissan.com for full details. VIN RC7389396. MSRP 31150. Offer ends July 6, 2025.
Matt Blatt Nissan, located on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, right next to the Home Depot.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch studios here on 97.3 ESPN. Great conversation with Oscar Buttigieg. Yeah, for those who don't know, my last radio job, I used to work with at a bilingual. I was actually the manager of the bilingual station. For those who know me long enough, know about my media history. And part of the job is that we put the Spanish Phillies broadcast. So it was Bill, it was Angel Castillo, it was Oscar Buttigieg, just such great guys. And Oscar, he is as tuned into this team as anybody is. And the great thing with Oscar is because he is himself bilingual, he gets a feel for the guys on that team probably a little more than the average person does, right? So, there is a lot that goes into, being the guy who covers the team for the Spanish broadcast, and he brought a great perspective. I love what he said at the end. He's like, look, we don't need Bryce Harper to come back. He's like, Bryce Harper, take your time, come back when you need to come back. Don't come back too soon. And I think that's a big part of the conversation right now, and that is we want Harper back. Obviously, you want Harper back. But you don't need him back like tomorrow, right? You don't need him back immediately. So I think that's got to be part of the conversation moving forward as well for the Phillies. Great stuff there from Oscar. George in Summers Point chimes in at 609-403-0973 on the text. But don't forget, we are also live on my YouTube channel and the X platform at Josh Hennig. George in Summers Point chimes in. This is Josh. Nice to hear you on a Saturday. Just wanted to wish you good luck and a long run in your new show. Well, thank you, George. I appreciate that. Hopefully you can continue with your great coverage of the local sports scene as well as we get into the fall with some high school sports football talk. Well, George Summers Point, that is always, that's a hope, right? I don't want to give anything away. You know, it's June 21st. It's the first Hanging with Hennig. But there have been some conversations about doing some stuff with the high school sports scene. And I can't divulge anything more than that. But I do think there are some opportunities, as you said, for us to do stuff with that as well. But again, thank you, George Summers Point, for chiming in. For those who don't know, George Summers Point, he would text in frequently during the week when I was doing game night here on 97.3 ESPN. Stephen Ventnor followed up on the text board. He says, what Phillies prospects do you consider untouchable? Steve, I think this is probably the topic that can be debated the most, right? This is the topic that, I mean, if we're being realistic, we can argue for days and days and days about this part. But I tend to feel like, so if there are, I know there's more than this number, but if there are, let's say, 15 players in the Phillies organization that are considered top prospects, okay, let's just throw that number out there. Because usually a lot of those lists are like top 30 lists. I would say of that 15, 2 are untouchable. You heard Oscar mention about Andrew Painter. There is not a person out there who I have not heard talk about Andrew Painter in glowing reviews. People talk about Andrew Painter like he is something that we have never seen or ever heard of before. So for me, I think it's frankly impressive that there is such a consensus about him. And if there's that much of a consensus about him from people who cover the league, people who know the Phillies organization, if everyone's on the same page about how great this guy is, oh boy, you don't want to get rid of that guy. He's an untouchable. The other guy to me is Aiden Miller. Aiden Miller is the kind of player that I think could be incredibly special. And give me a second, folks, because my setup here in the studio is not what it usually is. But Keith Law was a guest with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash a couple weeks ago. And I thought Keith Law brought up an amazing point that I think I want to bring up again here. Because Aiden Miller, I think, has two values. The one value is the fact that he is considered one of the best hitting prospects the Phillies have had. Now, I have heard people say Mike Schmidt. I can't speak to what Mike Schmidt was as a prospect. I only know anything about him as a professional. So for those like the Jason Starks of the world, those baseball historians, I'll trust their judgment. But for the other people who have told me that he is a better prospect coming out of the minor leagues than Chase Utley was years ago, and I saw Utley play in college at UCLA, so I know what kind of prospect he was. That's the level of player that, as Keith Law points out, you might need not just for the future of your organization, but for another reason.
Scott should probably be the shortstop at this point. They're not going to do that. But maybe Miller is the guy who comes along and allows them to slide Turner to another position where I think Miller's going to be a better defender. And I think he's really going to hit, and he's probably going to surprise people with There's more power than you think. There's more speed than you think. I think he's going to be an all-star for a long time. And his rise through their system has been really impressive and really fun to watch.
The part about him bumping Turner, I think, is very intriguing. Because what you're basically now telling us is that you have a player, you have a prospect that is considered so elite that you would have to turn to a $300 million player and say, Trey, you can't do this forever. We need to get this guy up here. And so if he is that caliber of player, if he is that caliber of prospect, that's an untouchable. Because one, for as much as Trey Turner has worked on his fielding, I don't want him at shortstop long term. At one point or another, he is not going to be as athletic as he is now. And when that day comes, you're going to have to move him off at shortstop. And there is a long history of very good baseball players, talented baseball players, being forced to leave their primary positions. Remember, Cal Ripken moved from shortstop to third, and the Orioles didn't even have a prospect as good as Aiden Miller in the minor leagues. When Craig Biggio moved from catcher to second base to center field, it's not like the second baseman they were bringing up or the catcher they were bringing up was one of the greatest prospects that we've ever heard of. So those are two guys who are Hall of Famers. And they were told, look, dude, at some point, you got to move. We got to put you in a different position. I think it's imperative to keep Aiden Miller, not just because he's a great prospect, because he could be the guy to move someone like Trey Turner off of his spot. All right, we'll check on your text on the other side. I see Paul from Millville chimed in at 609-403-0973. We are live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig at 973 ESPN. Thanks to everybody for joining me for the inaugural edition of Hanging with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Still to come, 2014 NFL first round draft pick Marcus Smith will get into his mind about what is the offseason like for an NFL player, and he gives us some juicy details about maybe there was a deeper reason why he didn't work out with the Eagles. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN.
Let's face it, a lot of men avoid going to the doctor unless something is really wrong. But that tough it out mindset can be risky. June is Men's Health Month, a good time for men to focus on their health and well-being. Nearly 40% of men skip annual visits. That's a missed opportunity because many serious health issues such as high blood pressure, heart disease, or diabetes can develop with no symptoms. Routine checkups also include important screenings for men such as prostate, cholesterol, and colon cancer checks. These tests can detect problems early when they're most treatable. So guys, think of it as maintenance for the most important machine you own, your body. And if you're behind on your checkups, make that appointment today. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
ACUA's valet collection service is making summer living easier for Brigantine, Longport, Margate, and Ventnor residents. ACUA's collection crews will place your containers on the curb and return them to your home. Sign up for the affordable service at acua.com/valet.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99 plus $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever right now at the Home Depot.
Savor and Fiesta at the Agave Tequila and Mezcal Festival at the Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City on July 24th. Celebrate International Tequila Day and enjoy a tasting experience featuring over 150 tequilas and mezcals from renowned and emerging brands, complemented by delicious food and live music from Stealing Savannah and DJ Aaron K. Premium access and general admission tickets are available now at theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Bet with your head, not over it. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get in the zone.
AutoZone.
Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Town Square Media has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Get these great deals today. Get a $50 gift card for just $25 at the Ravioli House or Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. Get these great deals right now at seizethedeal.com. Don't wait any longer. Chances are these deals will sell quickly. For more info on these great deals, go to seizethedeal.com.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hour 2 of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Wherever you're checking us out, the 97.3 ESPN FM on your radio, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Well, we appreciate you joining us. YouTube at Josh Hennig, X at Josh Hennig, and at 97.3 ESPN. Coming up in about 20 minutes from now, we'll be talking with 2014 NFL first-round draft pick Marcus Smith, get his perspective on what is the offseason like for an NFL player, some insights about, maybe there were some deeper reasons why things didn't work out for him with the Philadelphia Eagles, and coaching might have something to do with it. We'll also get his perspective as it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Of course, the Circle of M nonprofit organization, they go around helping professional and amateur athletes deal with what the burdens are that come with being in the spotlight, and he travels around the country helping people. So we'll get into all that with Marcus Smith coming up here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. I got a couple texts to get to here. Before we get to the text, I just want to say something really quick. Nick Earnshaw, he did help me today getting a couple things set up here in the studio. First time with the new setup, first time streaming the way I am, doing things a little bigger, a little differently now, and I'm very grateful to Earnshaw for helping me. We had to do a bit of a NASCAR tire change from Billy Schweim to here, and then during one of the commercial breaks. So thanks to him for that. Phillies, Mets, don't forget you can hear it tonight on 97.3 ESPN FM. It is it's Abel versus Canning tonight. Those will be the two young pitchers. Canning's a fascinating story. I said before, I think the Mets GM doesn't deserve enough credit because they have basically, refurbished this rotation. They would not spend huge money. That's why they didn't keep Severino, for example. And now you have all these injuries, and they're still staying the course. They definitely deserve some credit to the Mets. But Canning is pitching tonight, and then tomorrow will be Luzardo versus Peterson. Again, both games can be heard on 97.3 ESPN FM. If you're looking for somewhere to go out to watch the games, Well, you got to go to my friends over at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Yesterday's is your place to go, not just for the game, because they have all the games on, Phillies, Eagles, and more, with the sound on, big key right there, but they also have the yard where all the live entertainment is every single weekend. Give them a follow on social media and Facebook, Instagram, and more for more information about their live event schedules and their great promotions they have throughout the summer months. But again, if you're looking for someone to watch the Phillies game tonight or tomorrow night, again, tonight will be on Fox Television. Tomorrow night is Sunday Night Baseball. So that's the ESPN broadcast. Look for someone to go out and watch the game. Well, there's no other better place to go than yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Back to the text board now, as promised. Paul from Millville chiming in at 609-403-0973. Paul says, Josh, congrats on the first day of the new show. Well, thank you, Paul. He says, will the benching of Casty be a turning point in the season? And will the play at the plate last night become a signature play of the year so far? You know, it's funny you said that, Paul, because Billy Schweim on the locker room was talking about the 93 Phillies. And there were like these major signature moments for that postseason team, for that run. And you're right. Maybe the play at the plate last night with the double slide and the umpire, going safe, throwing his arms out, is just consecutively. That might be one of those moments of the year. That might be one of those. We look back, and if this team makes another World Series run, and we say, what are the top 5 highlights of the season, right? What are the top 5 moments of the year? That's certainly got to be one of them. Because as I said in the first hour, Paul in Millville, you could feel through the television the fan base exploded. The fans lost their minds in that moment. And you could feel it through the television. I made the comment in the last hour. So I've worked in media now, for those that don't know, for 20 years. And I've done everything in media at this point. So, when you are setting up a broadcast, you sit there and do those pre-checks of your audio levels. You make sure, the field mic is set. The headset mics are good for the broadcasters, the whole 9 yards, right? I genuinely don't think it. This is not a negative against the people at Apple TV Plus. I genuinely don't think the people at Apple TV Plus were prepared for the level of sound when the Philly fans exploded last night. The fan base, you could feel it through the television. The eruption of the fans with the double slide, with JT Realmuto coming in full steam behind Castellanos. I don't think the Apple TV broadcasters were ready for that. I think that they didn't realize how passionate this fan base is. And so I do think that was such a major moment, and that's got to go on the list. That definitely would make if this is a World Series run, that's on the list. 100%. It's a great job there by Paul and Milva. Now, to your other point about Castellanos. Look, if you read Charlotte Varn's article in The Athletic with the more details about her conversation with Castellanos, if you were to dig deeper into some of the information from the different reporters who were, again, there were only 3 reporters in Miami this past week, which in and of itself, whoever's decision that was a bad job by somebody. But I digress. The fact that Castellanos is so nonchalant about it, the fact that he is so, hey man, me and Thompson, we're just competitive guys. He's the manager. I respect him. It is what it is. Like, in some way, you're just like, oh boy, here's Castellanos being Castellanos. But I do wonder if we just need to take him literally. If we need to take it literally as he's telling us, hey guys, it is what it is. Manager did what he had to do. I did what I thought I had to do. I got benched for a reason. We're moving on. Maybe it is that simple. Maybe it is as simple as you have a guy in Castellanos who just... I have never been a fan. If you followed me here on 97.3 ESPN, or you follow me on social media, at Josh Hennig on the X platform, at Josh Hennig on YouTube, Joshua Hennig on the Instagram. If you follow me, you know that historically I have never been a big fan of Castellanos. Okay, that is a well-known fact. I'm not a Castellanos guy. I never have been. I never will be. I just don't care for the guy. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his personality. I just think he comes off as just such a turd sometimes. It's like, dude, you're being paid $100 million to play baseball. Like, don't be so miserable all the time. It's almost like Castellanos is just like, I don't know what it is. His indifference, his lack of, now he just might be just so laid back and indifferent that we just perceive it as he doesn't care. But I do think that the benching of Castellanos was a good thing. I think the benching of Castellanos was an opportunity not just for the manager to assert himself, but it was a great opportunity for the Phillies to get off of this stupid Ironman streak. Who cares if you play 200-some games in a row? We're not paying you, Nick Castellanos, to play 200 games in a row. We're paying you to put up big numbers in this lineup. If Nick Castellanos played 150 games a year, but he gives me 30 homers and 100 RBI, then you're earning your paycheck. You're not earning your paycheck if you're not doing your job at the plate. Because we know he is a horrible defensive player. He is statistically one of the worst defensive players. By the way, he addressed that in the one article I read where he kind of went to Dave Dombrowski and said, hey, man, can you share with me whatever these numbers are to say I'm a bad defensive player? And apparently after he read the numbers, he's like, I can't do anything about it. I am what I am. So, but maybe the benching was an opportunity for Castellanos to realize what's important. His bat has come alive since the benching. Maybe he needed to be sent a message. Hey, Nick, nobody cares about you playing every day anymore. How about you focus on what's important? The Phillies gave him a $100 million contract because he was coming off an amazing year in Cincinnati. And the idea was that, well, if he put up those big, gaudy stats in Cincinnati's ballpark, he should be able to do it at Citizens Bank. And, of course, then you have Dave Dombrowski's personal history with him, right? The whole, I was in Detroit when we drafted him, all that stuff. I know him personally. I know the kind of guy he is, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, right? There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of different things that go into it. But I do think that the benching Castellanos, I think overall is paying off. And I think overall it is doing some good for this team. Because at the end of the day, it's way more important when it comes to Castellanos for him to be hitting. And right now, he is hitting. So maybe it will be a bit of a turning point for Castellanos this year. Good text from Paul in Millville. Glenn and Absecon chimes in. He says, Josh, what is the hesitation about bringing Painter up if he is so lights out? I know there's service time issues that prevent players from coming up early in the season, but I've heard people say this guy has schemes like stuff. Let's see if he can star in the show. Let's go. Well, there's a reason for that. Keith Law from The Athletic, longtime baseball insider for the minor leagues, explained this to Mike Gill on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN.
With Painter specifically, he is still building back up from Tommy John surgery. He missed 2 years, basically. And so I would not want him to come up and take a regular turn in a contending rotation because he's not built up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is going to be maybe a 5-inning starter at this point. I wrote a piece a week ago. They got him working on his slider, which is fine, but it's like his third or fourth best pitch right now. And that is not going to be a huge weapon for him coming up.
They are, for whatever reason, making Painter work on the diversity of his pitches. That's one of the reasons why he is not up yet. The other reason why he is not up yet is because of, and I think this is a part of the conversation that we have not had enough. And I think the average fan, and this is nothing against Glenn, I'm seeking Glenn, it's an amazing question because I think a lot of people don't know the answer to this. The reality is that Andrew Painter is still not ready to be a 5-man starting rotation guy. They are still working him up to pitching on 5 days rest, 4 days rest. It's a huge part of the issue right now for him. Because as of right here, right now, he is not ready. That's a problem. It is a problem that your guy is not ready. And if he's not ready, well, why are we trying to bring him up anytime soon? I get it. You want the guy up here if he can pitch this well. But I think the big difference between him and Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens was coming up to a ball club that is a miserable franchise with horrible ownership, and they were trying to put butts in the seats. The Phillies are not desperate to bring Painter up. Now, Skeens has worked out. He has not been a bad player. He has been everything you hoped for and more, right? But he is still only going to give you so much. He is only... I don't think we appreciate the fact that these pitchers are not as ready to go as we like them to be. I think a lot of these pitchers, they do need time. They do need development. And I know it's frustrating for fans because you're looking around being like, dude, if you're so great, get up here. And that's why I don't blame Glenn in Absekin's question because I think it's a fair question. But as Keith Law said, they're having him work on stuff down there. They're trying to have him work on the diversity of his pitches. And so if he's working on stuff, he's still building up his arm strength. And Dave Dombrowski, he did a wishy-washy thing on the show podcast. He was talking to John Heyman and Joel Sherman from the New York Post, the two MLB insiders. And he told them, well, we said, July-ish around the deadline, but we don't have to bring him up at that point. Sounds like the Phillies are not going to bring him up just yet. Look, I think the Phillies can still win a championship without Andrew Painter coming up this year. It's not the end of the world. Also, the text board is 609-403-0973. DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Shout out to Thea in Mays Landing. She says, congratulations and blessings for you and your new show. Well, thank you, Thea. I appreciate it. I know you've been listening to 97.3 for a long time, so I appreciate you joining us on Saturdays, 12 to 3 p.m., Hanging with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN, live on YouTube and the X platform at Josh Hennig. So thank you, Thea. Appreciate you saying that you're here. We were happy to have you a part of the show, listening and texting in. Now, I will keep doing the work I do. Andrew Summers' point. I think Andrew Summers' point, I think he's talking about Castellanos. Or is he not? I'm not fully sure. Andrew, can you follow up and let me know who you're talking about there? Because I don't want to read your text and mess it up. Because you honestly keep talking about 3 different people there. Just to be fair, that could be multiple different people you're referencing there. All right, Josh Hennig live in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios Don't forget to go to my social media for your chance to save $10 off on Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Also, thanks to my great sponsors like Zia Nicola Pizza. They close at 5 o'clock today, so make sure you get out there before they close. He's got a wedding to cater tonight. The pizzeria, the best pizza in Seattle City. So if you're looking for a good piece of some good pizza, Zia Nicola Pizza in Seattle City is where you go. All right, coming up next, 2014 NFL first-round draft pick, Marcus Smith. Some of you know him as a draft bust, but there might be a deeper reason, as we will learn coming up next, about why things didn't work out here in Philadelphia with Marcus Smith. He will give us the details. Is it maybe coaching? Also, we'll learn from him what goes into an offseason for an NFL player, and we'll learn more about his work he's doing with the Circle of M nonprofit foundation as he goes around and helps other athletes confront, deal with, and work through mental health issues as it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. All that and more here with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM. It's Hanging with Hennig every Saturday from 12 to 3 p.m.
It's Phillies baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Heated rivals go head-to-head.
Kyle Schwarber, and this place is going bananas.
The Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets.
It's out of here! Juan Soto stops and celebrates.
Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern and tomorrow at 6 Eastern.
It's Phillies Mets on 97.3 ESPN.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
Are you tired of sweltering bedrooms, stubborn hot spots, or an AC that can't keep up? Call Broadleys and ask about a ductless heat pump from Mitsubishi Electric. Enjoy cool, quiet comfort in the rooms you need it most. No ductwork needed. As a Mitsubishi Electric Elite Diamond contractor, Broadleys makes it easy with 0% financing for 7 years and utility rebates for extra savings. Call Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air for a free quote at 609-390-3907 or visit Broadleys.net.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at trylifemd.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at trylifemd.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
The summer clearance event is on at White Horse RV Center in Galloway and Williamstown. They are clearing inventory on the lot to make room for the incoming 2026s. Now's your chance to save big. Travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes are all priced to move. Whether you're camping with a family or escaping as a couple, we've got the perfect RV for your next adventure. Visit White Horse RV Center in Galloway or Williamstown or shop online at whitehorserv.com. White Horse RV, your RV adventure starts here.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at TryLifeMD.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life altering. And if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at TryLifeMD.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
With GMF financing to qualify buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Have you heard? Nobody beats a Bennett Chevy deal, and I mean nobody. All this month, Bennett Chevy is selling new Chevys at the GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you as much as 20% on your new Chevy. That's right, you keep all the rebates and you pay the same GM supplier employee price we pay. That's up to 20% in savings. And you can save even more with available 0% financing. Thinking about buying pre-owned? Well, again, nobody beats Bennett Chevy. Just bring us any clunker you can, and we'll give you a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned on our lot. Yes, I said a minimum 10 grand for your junk. Who else is going to make fantastic offers like Bennett Chevy? Nobody. That's who. Plus, you'll never experience any haggles or hassles or need to negotiate because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
People will come, Ray.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
People will most definitely come.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig here is hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, and we are live as always, streaming on YouTube, X, and Instagram, thanks to Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm so excited to be joined by my guest here because it is Mental Health Awareness Month for men, not just general mental health. It's men because we know, as my guest will tell you, if you're listening on the radio, you can't see him, but he's nodding his head. We all know as men, there's typically a trend to tell us how we should think, how we should feel. It is 2014 NFL first-round pick of the Philadelphia Eagles from Louisville. Marcus Smith joins me. Marcus, how you doing today?
Man, doing great. Excellent. I appreciate that. That was cool. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, you are more than just a former NFL player. You are the founder of the Circle of M. It's a nonprofit. It goes out of your way to help people. And before we get to all of that, I want to get your perspective because as a former NFL player, this is a weird time of year. We're a month removed from when teams report the training camp. Teams like the Eagles and others. Like this is kind of like that dead period. Talk about from a player's perspective, what is this window like for guys?
Yeah, man, it's actually a crucial window because you have started OTAs and then you get into your mini camps and you kind of see what the team is made of, right? You kind of see who the new players are going to be, how you're going to interact with each other, what package you're going to use. So in this off season, it's very important for you to stay hydrated, to stay intact with the team and some of your teammates, start that training process and bring the mentality back to camp. So it's almost like 4 to 5 weeks of getting your body ready to handle 17, 18-week season. So that's what the players are going through right now. Sometimes players, right after mini camp, they go take maybe 3 or 4 days off just to be with their family, and then it's right back into football so they can get ready for the season because guys are trying to win and they're trying to host that Lombardi Trophy.
You mentioned about the Lombardi Trophy. One of the conversations last year with the Eagles was the fact that Vic Fangio, first-year coordinator, and he took a different approach than some other guys. He said, hey, I'm trying to go out here and just force-feed these guys much information in OTAs and training camp, so when they get to the season, it's going to be easy. So, but there's the gap still. There's a gap between OTAs and minicamp and then training camp. So how would a player then handle a coach basically like feeding him all this information and then all of a sudden he's out of the building for 5-6 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to lean on our teammates, especially if it's a new player. And I think that a lot of times, like somebody like BG, or like I had a Trent Cole or Conor Barwin, like we would all get together, we would text each other and try to go over some of the plays and some of the things that we would be doing in camp, right? We tried to stay intact with, the team, the camaraderie. I think that's, very important. So you kind of draw these things up on a board as you're training, as you're getting ready for the season. And then once you actually get into that, it's like no brainer. And what happens is, right, you start with phase one. Phase one is usually install one. So it takes you all the way through the last mini camp with the last install. So you have had all the installs. And then what happens when you get to camp, you start back on install one usually, right? So now you're starting back at phase one, but you've already seen the whole playbook, right? And so when you go back to phase one, that's what the coaches are talking about. They're like, wow, like, well, I've already done this. I had a whole spring of this. So it should be a no-brainer once you get into camp. We should hit the ground running. It shouldn't really be too much coaching. The only coaching that it should be is like certain technique issues, but the plays should be all in and ready to go.
By the way, speaking of Conor Barwin, next Saturday we will be at Conor Barwin's Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament in Sea Isle City. We'll be broadcasting here on 97.3 ESPN. You didn't even know that. It's just perfect symmetry by you, Marcus Smith. Of course, we used to play for the Eagles. I got to ask you about the Eagles because you mentioned all the teammates you played with. Obviously, Brandon Graham just retired. And, I remember one of the things that it made me chuckle a little bit. I've heard him say multiple times in interviews, he said the biggest thing for him now he's retired is he wants to get into beach shape. He wanted to lose all the excess weight that he had. Is that something guys like struggle with? We're talking about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Is the keeping the weight on? Is it the eating? How much of that is a tax on guys mentally?
It is a tax. It's a huge tax. It's a struggle. I'm gonna say that if I can just be honest and frank, like some of us really do stay in shape, but it is a struggle to be able to stay on that regimen and routine because you've been playing football your whole entire life, and then mentally, when you retire, it's like, man, like I just want to take a break, right? And then if you take too much long of a break, you get out of that football, that in shape that you would be if you was playing football. And so you keep going down this path of like, man, I don't really feel like doing anything. And then you start to see guys kind of blow up and not be in as much shape as they was. But I would say that it is really tough to stay in shape because of the wear and tear on your body. 90% of football players feel that wear and tear, and they just want to take a mental break first and then a physical break because of the body. It's a lot of things that go into trying to play a 17-week season. But then you have guys like Brandon Graham who can go in and actually work out and still look, the part and try to get the weight down so he can give other guys the confidence. But most guys, it's really tough to do. It was tough for me to do mentally, you know what I mean? But it can be done.
What was it? You mentioned it was tough for you. Was it tougher, like the discipline? Was it tougher the eating habits? Was it tougher the routine? Like what was it for you as a player that you were like, man, that part of the process was really the biggest challenge?
Yeah. So one of the hardest things as a football player that you deal with is the schedule and the routine of it, because now you have to create your own schedule. You have to do it yourself. And with football, you have everything kind of like laid out for you, especially in the off season. So it's a little bit different when you're done playing because you don't have the same things anymore in play because you're not actually going to play for a season. You're really just getting your body back in shape. So the schedule and not having everything in order in the way that you want it, it kind of makes like you feel like you're not moving in the right direction, and it gives you this thing in your mind that you feel like, oh man, well, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And then you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And you find yourself maybe sitting on the couch, right, watching the game instead of going to work out because you've gotten further and further away from like your goals and to reach your goals. And so even guys like having to insert themselves back into their families, right? Think about that when they have to go back into their families, because I mean, they're gone a lot of the weeks in a season. So now they have to find out where they fit in. So they're trying to juggle not only family, but trying to be themselves and get a workout themselves. So that is taxing mentally as well, to try to be all that you can be for a husband, as a father, and then also take care of yourself.
We're talking with Marcus Smith. Of course, he is the founder of the Circle of M, the nonprofit. And of course, he is the 2014 Philadelphia Eagles first-round draft pick. Joining me here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig, streaming live in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. You talked about transition. I got to ask you, because in college, you led the nation in sacks. You had 16 sacks at Louisville. You were just all-out beast mode that year. And then you come to the NFL, and it seemed like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you correct me, okay? From my eyeballs, it really seemed like that transition from college to the NFL, having to switch from what you were being asked to do in college to then going to that Billy Davis defense, it really was a hindrance, because I know, at least for my eyeballs, and again, you correct me if I'm wrong, but for my eyeballs, you seemed like you were way more comfortable with Jim Schwartz as a coordinator, for example, than it was Billy Davis. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that would definitely be a fair assessment. If you look at my style of play in college, I kind of was all over the place, and my coaches kind of put me where I would need to be. Sometimes I played middle, sometimes I played outside, but it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle for me being in that defense because I'm strictly an outside linebacker. But I think when Jim Schwartz came into play, it was more so like, I just want you to play. I don't want you to think about anything. I want your hand to be in the dirt, and I want you to go and get after it. But obviously, my first year having struggles, it was a culture shock for me coming into the NFL, being in that system. And quite frankly, I didn't play well. And then the second year, when I was doing better, then you get hurt, right? You get injured, and then you're not able to play as much as you want. And then now your third year comes, and the GM and everybody's looking at you like, hey man, we need you to really step it up. And so that's a lot of pressure coming along with that. And I quite frankly just didn't do well with the pressure. And I'm not afraid to say that. And that's why, I really speak on the mental health aspect of the players. I try to help them, guide them through their seasons, and not allow them to step away from the game, but more so push them forward so they can have the best careers. You know what I mean? And that's all I want,
You mentioned about helping players now, obviously after a 5-year NFL career. And I want you to recount just a quick summary for those who don't know, because at the end of your NFL career, there was a moment where you got to hit rock bottom. You wrote about it in the Players Tribune a few years ago. And I want to ask you, and I know this might sound like a double-edged sword here, but you mentioned about helping players now. Is there something that you know now that you look back at your career and like there's a part of you that like drives you to say, I didn't know this when I was younger. I know this now. And I'm like, it's almost like divine inspiration that I have to help people with this one aspect.
Yes, for sure. And that is having a team, a therapist, a life coach, a person that you can confide in and talk to about the day-to-day things that you're going through as an athlete, as a football player. Because I didn't speak. I kept silent. I didn't talk about some of the struggles that I was having. I didn't talk about the anxiety, the depression. I didn't talk about any of those things. And then I hit rock bottom once I went to Seattle. But I had just signed a deal with Seattle, and it was actually a good deal with them that I could play another year. It was basically a prove-it deal, and it was an opportunity for me to play, but I was really dying in the inside because I hadn't really addressed a lot of the issues that I had been dealing with. And so that's all I do now. You know, I help guys get into treatment, guys who are having mental breakdowns like I did. They go to Refine Recovery, or they go to APN, or they go to Menninger. I just try to help them go to the places that could help them get to a place where they can go back to the sport and be phenomenal at the sport. See, I walked away, and when I walked away, I was able to finish that year. But then I realized when I talked to some of my teammates from Seattle, not going to say any names, but a lot of those guys were dealing with the same thing I was going through at the same exact time. And so that's when I knew that, okay, if I step up and speak, then it's going to help a lot of the players in the long run. And so that's what all I would say. What I know now is to have a team around you that is not only physical, but mental as well, because we do everything backwards. We always do physical first and then mental, but it's always the mental first and then physical. That's what really gets you through, and that's what really helps you become the player that you want to be.
We're talking with Marcus Smith. So again, 5-year in the NFL, first-round draft pick, 2014 NFL draft. Spent your time with the Eagles, then went to Seattle. So give the audience just a quick synopsis, right? So the journey from you hit rock bottom, you had to refine, recalibrate, right? You got your faith in right, you got your family in right, you got everything recalibrated over time, and then you started the Circle of M. So kind of like give the audience like that lineup there, so they understand like how this went. Because like I said, first round draft pick, you're the top of the mountain, right? You're like, I'm doing great, and then basically 4 years later, you're at the bottom, mentally, emotionally. And so now from that moment to now, kind of give the audience like an understanding of like what that was like for you.
Yeah, man. So it started when obviously I was a first round draft pick, and then 3 years in the NFL, or 3 years with the Philadelphia Eagles. Think about going through anxiety and depression through the time that I was in Philly. All right, wanting to please the fans, wanting to please the coaches, but I didn't realize that it was more so about proving myself right than proving anybody wrong. So I had the wrong mindset. So then I go to Seattle, and I never addressed any of these issues, and these issues started coming up even to when I was 8 years old. So it's like baggage traveling with me. And then I had a suicide attempt year 5, right after it was in August, in the midst of camp. Right. And so right after that, I go to Pete Carroll. I go to Clinton Hurt, who is the defensive line coach at the Eagles right now, who was my coach at Louisville. And they allowed me to go to therapy and get the help that I need. And they were really there for me in those moments. And that's kind of why you see me here today. If it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for my wife and things of that nature, I would not be here. And so in that process of stepping away, as I was talking to my teammates, I really realized that I had to start something that would allow them to speak. And so afterwards, like, I went to the Redskins and finished the year off. I played with them a year, and then I started the Circle of M right after that, because I seen that there was a need. And the Circle of M, all it is a nonprofit organization that is our mission is to unmask the feelings that cause anxiety and depression. And a lot of football players go through anxiety, depression, and PTSD through a lot of the things that we see with football and some of the things that they see at home. And so that's where we are now from 2020 on to 2025. Now we partner with multiple treatment facilities. We partner with the NFL. We were just in the Capitol to speak on behalf of the NFLPA, because we know that this is a need. The NFL knows that this is a need. And it's very important for these players to understand that you do have a voice, and that, yes, we do play a barbaric sport, but you're not weak if you talk about it with the guys in the locker room that you're going through something. You're not weak if you go to a therapist, because now 32 teams, they have 32 clinicians on site. So it's important to have someone like me to voice and say, hey, it's okay to go in there and speak to them.
One of the messages you were giving recently, you put it on your social media. People can check out, of course, the Circle of M on Instagram and all the social media platforms. I follow you in Circle of M on Instagram personally, and one of the messages you were putting out recently was about speaking positive. And that, it's almost like you're not speaking things into existence like it's an incantation, but it's almost like when you speak it, you're convincing yourself of something. Talk about why that is so important for a month like this, which is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Well, you said it, Josh, before we got on, when you talk about life and death is in the power of the tongue. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that. We believe that. And the more that I seen that I would talk positive over my life, the more that I would see positive in the atmosphere. It's almost like that picture, that meme that you see with the guy on the bus and he's looking at a side with rocks, but on the other side is sunny. It looks nice. Right. And so if I could paint the picture for you, that's exactly how it is. If you paint a picture or if you talk negative, that's what's going to come out in the atmosphere. And that hurts your mental health and your mental well-being, right? Because you think that you're worthless. You start to think that something is wrong with you. You get isolated. And once you start to become isolated, you feel like no one can help you. And then that's when, suicide starts to come, it starts to creep in. But when you go to a mirror or you wake up every morning and you speak positive over your life, it could be one thing. It could say, hey, I'm going to be great today. And you don't say anything else. Those are the words that you spoke over your life, and you'll see great come out. It doesn't matter what it actually looks like, but you'll feel a lot better. And I think that is very important, without any therapy, without any meditation. But what you speak is what you have. And I truly believe that.
Yeah, I believe it's Proverbs 18 is where it says death and life is in the power of the tongue. And it's something that's so true, because we don't realize how what we say impacts us throughout our day. And it also impacts other people, right? It's the idea that, if you give someone a smile, if you give someone something positive in their life, they carry that to the next person as well. So it's almost like, when you take care of your mental health, right, you're actually indirectly helping other people.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. I was talking to a former player, and I was kind of like walking him off the ledge, if you will. And he was having an anxiety episode, and all he needed to hear was some positive affirmations and kind of hear how my story was, because our story was the same. So a lot of times when guys hear your story, they can relate to it. We're guys, we're football players. It doesn't matter. So when someone hears that and they hear the positive energy that comes off of it, they're like, wow, like I haven't heard something positive in so long, because there's only negative things that have been happening in my life. And when you hear that, then that springs you into the purpose that was always purposeful for your life.
Of course, it's Circle of M is the nonprofit foundation. Marcus, plug it one more time for the audience listening.
Yeah, so it's the Circle of M Incorporated. You can find us on thecircleofm.com. Our Instagram is the Circle of M. My Instagram, you can find me, Marcus Smith II, Money Mark 91. I'm actually going to get that changed to the real Marcus Smith one day. But until then, a lot of my teammates call me that. So I put that as my Instagram handle. So that's where you can find us.
Well, it's interesting because, and I didn't even think of this until you just said it. Sometimes it's important for us to have something from our past to remind us why we are in the present, right? Because we aren't who we are today without the things we went through before. So in some ways, it's almost like your handle, it's an old handle. Some people used to call you, but who you were is a part of who you are now, right?
Yep, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with the person, because it allows you to know how far you've come and how much growth you have. And it continues to remind you that it's okay to think about your past, but also be where your feet are. And that's what I learned along the journey. I don't think too far ahead anymore. And I reminisce on the past, just like what you said. And I just thank God for allowing me to be in this position help as many guys as I can and speak on the platform as much as I can.
Before I let you go, I got to ask you, because you mentioned your old coach, Clint Hurd, now with the Eagles. Was there a part of you that was watching the Eagles win the championship and you were maybe like, looking at your old coach being like, yeah, man, you got this. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was rooting for him. I was actually down there at the Super Bowl for the first week, so I got to interview him down there, which was pretty cool. But I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he has a Super Bowl ring. He deserves it, right? He is one of the top best coaches. He taught me everything I know about defensive line. As you know, I played quarterback my whole entire life until I got to college. And he was one of the ones that said, hey, we can use you here and you're going to be great at this. And so kudos to Coach. I hope they win it. They have a great chance to win it again now, So, I'm praying that they bring it out again, because that'll be definitely cool to bring another Super Bowl to Philly.
Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I feel like we've covered a lot of bases here, and I'm sure we can chat again in the future. He is Marcus Smith, 2014 NFL first-round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he is with the Circle of M. Give him a follow on Instagram. Check out all the great work they're doing. Marcus, great stuff. Stay blessed. I appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you for having me.
Great stuff there from Marcus Smith. Of course, I recorded that the other day. He wasn't able to come live on with us today here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. It was great to have him. Just great insights. We'll do a couple quick takeaways on the interview on the other side. But also get back to the text board. I see George from Galloway. We'll follow up with Andrew and Summers points, text, all that and more. 609-403-0973. Text board is open for you to hang out with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are live as always on YouTube, and X is where you can watch the show streaming anytime at Josh Hennig. More still to come. Don't forget, next hour we'll get into more of the Phillies and the Eagles, and of course, you guys chiming in throughout the show. Jesse Rendall, Executive Director of Make the World Better Foundation, talking about Conor Barwin's Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament is in the next hour as well. 3 hours, 12 to 3, every Saturday, you and me hanging out on 97.3 ESPN.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
4th of July savings at the Home Depot right now and get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery, like Samsung. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators, upgrade to tech you can trust with Samsung appliances. The Home Depot has what you need to simplify your routine. Don't miss 4th of July appliance savings at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Beat the heat with a brand new AC system from Broadleys. Is your unit struggling? Then upgrade now to a Bryant high-efficiency coastal unit, built to handle the heat and salty air. Get 0% financing for 7 years with no money down. Plus, get rebates and tax credits on select systems. Don't wait. Call Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air today, your local factory authorized Bryant dealer at 609-390-3907 or visit Broadleys.net. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states.
Looking for the ultimate sports bar experience? Welcome to Ventnor Social, Down Beach's newest upscale sports bar. Watch every play on 27 big screen TVs with a state-of-the-art sound system that puts you right in the action. Grab a cold drink, savor American eats and fresh seafood, and don't miss their unbeatable lunch, happy hour, and dinner specials. Enjoy live music on the open-air deck, an arcade for the family downstairs, and video games that will level up your night. Ventnor Social on Ventnor Avenue. Visit their Facebook page for up-to-date info and specials.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
All right, let's get to the text board. We'll get to Andrew at the side. We'll recontinue the Phillies talk on the flip side. But George in Galloway chimes in at 609-403-0970. Says, great interview with Marcus Smith. Wish you the best of luck and everything with the new show. Well, thank you, George in Galloway. George Galloway, good guy, by the way. I've met him a couple times out at different events. George, I'm glad you mentioned the Marcus Smith interview, and I got a couple texts, people saying it was a good interview. I want to take away two big takeaways. One is, I don't think it's a coincidence that he didn't do well. Not just because, all the analysts said that he should have never been a first-round draft pick, that he was overdrafted, he should have never been a first-round pick. That's one part of the conversation. The other side of the conversation is the why it didn't work out. He went from a defense where he was asked to do one set of skills, and he came to Philadelphia with Billy Davis, and he was completely not used properly. And the whole Chip Kelly obsession with, I want to draft my guys, I want to draft guys that I like and I want, I always felt like that was such a farce. That was it was just so poor of Chip Kelly. He put so many guys in a horrible position that they were not able to be successful. He's arguably one of the worst coaches the Eagles have ever had in terms of how he handled the players, how he handled everything around the organization. And, Marcus said, look, when I got to Jim Schwartz, I actually played better. He said, that final year, you're under a lot of pressure. And he said, then I got injured. And then I went to Seattle. And you have to wonder, if Marcus Smith didn't have Billy Davis and Chip Kelly when he came to Philadelphia, he was maybe not a first-round pick, and maybe instead like a third or fourth or a fifth-round pick. And he was in like Jim Schwartz's scheme, or maybe he played the first 3 years of his career with someone like Pete Carroll. You have to wonder how his career would have played out differently. Now, it doesn't change the mental health stuff and the things that he's overcome, and we're glad that he's doing better now. And it's so great that he's helping other people as well. But it does make you think about how important coaching is when it comes to player success in the NFL. More Hanging with Hennig coming up next on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Hi, I'm Dave, branch manager with Viking Pest Control. From answering your kitchen to mosquitoes in your yard or termites threatening your home, Viking has customized solutions for you. Trust our local experts to handle the pests so you can have peace of mind. Learn more at vikingpest.com.
Hello, I'm the Atlantic County Sheriff, Joseph O'Donoghue. I've proudly dedicated my law enforcement career to keeping our community safe. But I also am a proud parent, grandparent, and great-grandparent who understands the importance of keeping our children safe. Motor vehicle crashes continue to be the leading cause of death for our children ages 1 to 12. No parent or caregiver wants to ever imagine that their child is involved in a car crash, but it's important to be prepared. Children should always be buckled up. In the right seat, the right booster seat for their age, their height and weight, every ride, every time. A properly installed child safety seat can reduce the risk of injury by as much as 71% for infants and 54% for our toddlers. Atlantic County Sheriff's Office is definitely here to help. We have certified child passenger safety seat technicians available to properly install or check the position of your car seat at no charge. For more information, please call 609-909-7200 or visit acsheriff.org.
It's back. The planet's biggest beach party, Beachstock 2025, hits Margate on Saturday, June 28th from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Free admission and no beach badges ever. Live music, food trucks, beach sports, and more. Plus, a chance to meet Miss New Jersey. Don't miss the Twilight Bonfire, Moana 2 at sunset, and the New Jersey British Invasion rocking the beach at night. Park and ride the free jitney all day. Get all the details at margatehasmore.com. Beachstock 2025. Thanks to our friends at the New Jersey Lottery. Play the Sure Thing scratch-offs today.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A town square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally! This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone!
Josh Hennig.
Hour 3 of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up in about 25 minutes from now, we will be chatting with Jesse Rendall. He is the executive director of the Make the World Better Foundation. Next Saturday, me, Billy Schwein, Dave Klemick, Mr. Negadelphia, PJ Corda, and many more will be down in Sea Isle City for Conor Barwin's Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament. And by the way, you can hear Conor Barwin. He will be joining Mike Gill on the Sports Bash this coming week here on 97.3 ESPN. But today, we will be Jesse Rendall in less than 25 minutes from now. We'll check back on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. We are live on YouTube and the X platform at Josh Hennig. Thank you all for joining me on the maiden voyage of the new show. Final hour will be 12 to 3 every Saturday. And, of course, we are here thanks to my great sponsors. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Also, my guy Dave Klemick at Klemick Performance Method in Egg Harbor Township. Zia Nicola Pizza in Sea Isle City. The best pizza in Sea Isle City is right there on 43rd and the Promenade. By the way, they're only open until 5 o'clock today. They got a wedding catering. So 12 to 5 today. Get your pizza, get your za before they close up for the day. They're usually open until about 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night on the weekend. But Nick's a busy guy down there, Zia Nicola. Shout out to him. And also, thanks to Dr. Squatch for being the sponsors of the Dr. Squatch Virtual Studio. The best soap on the planet. Let's reset the conversation here. We opened the show talking about the Phillies. It's crazy the win last night. And I said it earlier in the show. I want to kind of re-hit on it here. Winning that game last night, I think, was of incredible importance for this organization. They needed that win desperately because that win was something that they needed after what happened last year. The Mets are on a losing streak right now. You don't want to keep losing to them. You don't want to let them think that they still have an upper hand on you. Because if you let them think they still have an upper hand on you, well, you know what happens. You end up in a situation where now you're beholden to them. You're now in a situation where they can dictate the terms of not just the series, but the National League East. You are now in a prime driver's seat in the National League East. You take 2 out of 3 this weekend. You basically told the Mets, we're not going anywhere. You got to contend with us. Yeah, we get it. The Braves took them out, but the Braves are so far down the division. The Braves are not a real threat to the National League East right now. They're a threat for the wild card, but they're not a threat for the National League East. It's going to come down to the Mets and the Phillies. And that's why what Dave Dombrowski does at the deadline is so important. Because you heard Oscar Buttigieg when he explained it to us in the 12 o'clock hour, the Phillies Spanish broadcaster, where he explained, they need to replace Alvarado. He said it. He said, look, they probably need another player or two at the deadline. And I'm hearing that a lot right now. I'm hearing that from Oscar. I've heard that from people on the Sports Bash like Bob Wankel from Crossing Broad. I've heard that from Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City on the Sports Bash, Mike Gill. And I know that it's something that Nick Earnshaw and Billy Schwein talked about in the locker room this morning on 97.3 ESPN. We all know. We all get it. No one's stupid. The only person who seems to not want to fully acknowledge it is Dave Dombrowski. Now, I get it. He can't say certain things in public because you don't want to put your team in a position where you have, people overthinking the situation. I get it, all right? I'm not stupid, all right? But at the same time, I need Dombrowski to wake up, smell the coffee, and get on board. Because Philly fans want to win a World Series. Now, part of that winning is going to come down to what happened this week. And I think, as was pointed out earlier in the show, hanging with Hennig, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Saturday afternoon. Hope you're staying cool. Hope you're staying hydrated. Hope you're having a great afternoon, whether you're on the beach, whether you're listening on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, or you're catching us live on my YouTube channel or the X platform at Josh Hennig and at 97.3 ESPN on the X platform. Maybe the benching of Castellanos could be a turning point for the season. Because I've looked at, and I mentioned this to Oscar Buttigieg in the 12 o'clock hour, I think that the Phillies now at the time Castellanos being benched, inappropriate comments. We don't know what those comments were, but I can tell you for a fact that whatever it was, it had to be really over the top. Because Rob Thompson is a very laid back dude. That dude's heart rate is, I mean, his cardiologist must love him. Because that guy does not get too high or too low about anything, ever. But when they took Castellanos out of the game Monday night, whatever was said, it had to be pretty serious. It had to be something where you had to turn around and be like, I can't believe this guy said that. And I love the point made on the Philly Show podcast. And we'll get to Andrew and Summers Points text in just a minute, 609-403-0973. Jim Salisbury has covered the Phillies for decades. He brought up a great point about Rob Thompson. And I think for the Rob Thompson haters, this is one of those perspective conversations where I get it. Some of you out there, you look at Rob Thompson, like you guys call him Rob Zombie, right? He doesn't do anything. He just sits in the dugout and does nothing. But there's a reason why he does nothing at times. Because sometimes there's not something to be done. You can't run a ball club like a fan. Because we, the fan, we're screaming at the TV. Why did you ground in that play? Why did you make that pitching substitution? Why? You can't be the roller coaster ride as the man in charge of the baseball team. But Jim Salisbury has covered the Phillies for a very long time. He's seen a lot of managers over the years, has Jim. Okay, Salisbury has seen everyone from Rob Thompson to Joe Girardi to Pete McCannon to Ryan Sandberg to Charlie Manuel to Larry Boa to Jim Fregosi. He's seen them all. Terry Francona, right? But he pointed out something that the Castellanos benching on Tuesday is not the first time Rob Thompson has had to make a move like this.
He leaned on Bohm last year. That was pretty public in the postseason. Benched him, questioned his energy. So I think that was pretty significant. And this is, right up there with it, maybe even, above it in terms of attention grabbing. Although it's hard to, the attention of the postseason is pretty intense. But, it's Nick's hometown. He had the streak. Nick reacted emotionally in the dugout in front of people. And I think you're the manager of the team. You can't let something like that slide or everybody's going to start pulling it on you.
It's a great point by Salisbury, because if you're Rob Thompson, you can't just let these guys say and do whatever they want. You can't let these guys just be like, oh, well, whatever you want, Nick. No. If Nick Castellanos said something that was off-putting, that was offensive, that was completely uncalled for, there's a price to pay for that. Somebody had to say something to Castellanos. So ultimately, if you are an organization like Philadelphia, you cannot just let it slide. You can't just be like, oh, poor Castellanos, he's so misunderstood. No. At some point, Castellanos needs to grow up. And maybe he is growing up. Maybe him being benched was an opportunity for him to recalibrate. Because guess what? Did you notice something the last couple of days? Castellanos looks more focused at the plate. He looks more focused in the outfield. And no one's suggesting that Castellanos is a great fielder or a great anything like that. But it is intriguing that Castellanos all of a sudden seems to be paying attention a lot better, and he's having better at-bats. He's making better angles on plays. Now, he still makes the occasional base running mistake because Castellanos is such a strange character. It's hard to really get in that guy's head, and I don't think anybody wants to get in his head. But I do think that maybe there is something to be said for the fact that, maybe Castellanos needed that day off. Maybe he needed to look at himself in the mirror. And look, his family can complain all they want on social media. The reality is that Castellanos needed to be benched. And now it's paying dividends. And by the way, the stoic nature that Rob Thompson has, he learned from one of the best. Remember, Rob Thompson worked in the Yankees organization for a very, very long time. As Jim Salisbury pointed out on the Philly Show podcast, Rob Thompson learned from arguably the best manager of egos of the last 40 years in Major League Baseball.
Thompson's pretty good at handling things quietly in the clubhouse. He's very good at relationships and relationship building. He's had good mentors, the best in the business at that, and Joe Torre.
Yep.
I covered him. And I watched him handle situations like this. So it's a test for everybody.
I love they brought that up. Because if you are a guy like Joe Torre, and most people would say, I love Joe Torre. Joe Torre's a great manager. But Joe Torre was not the hothead. He let Don Zimmer be the hothead. He let everybody else. He was the calm presence. He managed the personalities. So now, you're an organization like Philadelphia, right? And you have a guy like Rob Thompson. You don't want Rob Thompson getting into fights with Castellanos in the dugout. It's not his personality. You don't want some crazy stuff going on. But what you are doing, if you are Philadelphia, you're getting something out of Castellanos now. And Andrew Summers Point chimes in the last hour. I wanted to get to his text at 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Dr. Squatch Natural Soap Studios. Online on YouTube and the X platform at Josh Hennig. Andrew Summers Point says, I'm right there with you, Josh. Nick Castellanos does swing through low breaking balls. Nowhere near the plate sometimes. Love the show, man. Thanks. Thanks, Andrew Summers Point. Appreciate you chiming me in. And I think that's where this weekend is going to be interesting, because with Canning tonight and Peterson tomorrow for the Mets, we're going to find out very quickly if Castellanos is fully come around. Because that blast, that homer last night was legit. And you saw now, since he came back, how well Castellanos is playing. And it definitely makes you wonder, if Castellanos goes on a hot streak, then what happens, right? If Castellanos goes on a hot streak, oh boy, now you're adding some legitimate depth to this lineup. And Steven Ventnor, who made some suggestions for guys that Phillies could acquire earlier, you need to acquire another bat, because you can't depend on every guy on this team to show up in the postseason. Because guess what? In 2022, you set the all-time World Series record for most strikeouts in a World Series by one team. In 2023, your offense completely went silent. It fell apart, basically, in the last two games against the Diamondbacks in front of your home fans. And then last year, the offense choked multiple times. So it's no coincidence that they need another bat. Now, look, I'm not saying Castellanos is going to go out and have a great rest of the year. All right, I'm not crazy. But I do think that you look at since he was benched. Since Castellanos was benched, he has over a .357 batting average, slugging .643. In 14 plate appearances, he has a home run, 3 RBI, and he's also scored 4 runs. So he's getting hits, he's getting RBIs, he's letting guys in front of him drive him in. By the way, his batting average is actually getting better, right? He's up to .282 batting average now. Castellanos is actually having a solid year. But if he can keep hitting the way he is now, it adds more depth, more length to the lineup. It makes you feel less angst about his defense. Look, I never expected Nick Castellanos to be a great defensive outfielder. He wasn't signed to be a defensive outfielder. When he was given that $100 million deal, he was coming off a 34-homer, 100 RBI season. Since joining the Phillies, he's only had one season anywhere close to that. 2023, when he was an all-star, 29 homers, 106 RBI. Outside of that season, he has been underwhelming. 13 homers his first year, 23 homers last year. If Castellanos can get you 30 and 100 and bat, I don't know, somewhere between 275 and 300, that's the guy I need. I don't need the guy starting every day. I could care less about that. And I have to wonder, did Castellanos placing so much value on that distract him from the real reason why he's here? Nick Castellanos is here because the Phillies need him to hit. They need him to smash. They need him to make contact. That's the key to all this. Because if he's hitting, it makes the lineup better. And it makes you wonder, did him getting benched actually help this team? It's very, very possible. Because now you're going into this weekend against the Mets team that you got one in the bag. Boom, we got the one. You need one more to win the series. Whether it's tonight or tomorrow, both games broadcasting right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage tonight begins at 6:30, tomorrow at 6 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Or if you're looking for somewhere to go watch the game, you can check out my friends at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. They will have the game with the sound on. So whether you're going out there for the live music or you want to see the Phillies game, yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora is the place to be for all of your Phillies and Eagles watching all season long. Speaking of the Eagles, coming up next, Conor Barwin's Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament is next weekend, and we'll talk with the Foundation's Executive Director, Jesse Rendall, on the other side. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. Danny Ryan joins me in the studio. We will recap the Phillies-Mets Saturday night action. Every Sunday during the baseball season, we go on the mound with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, brought to you by Blitz's Market of Ocean City. Tommy talks Phillies baseball and previews Sunday's game. Hour 2, the NHL Draft is Friday, June 27th, and we will hear from the lead beat writer who covers the Flyers for Philly.com, Charlie O'Connor. Eagles, Sixers talk and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, ClemicPerformanceMethod.com.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today or call 609-345-0151.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at trylifemd.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I've gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at trylifemd.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
Hello, I'm Justin, branch manager with Viking Pest. Viking is proud to have served our community for over 40 years. With offices throughout New Jersey, Viking provides pest control services from your home or business, inside or out. Visit VikingPest.com to learn more.
Hello, I'm the Atlantic County Sheriff, Joseph O'Donoghue. I've proudly dedicated my law enforcement career to keeping our community safe. But I also am a proud parent, grandparent, and great-grandparent who understands the importance of keeping our children safe. Motor vehicle crashes continue to be the leading cause of death for our children ages 1 to 12. No parent or caregiver wants to ever imagine that their child is involved in a car crash, but it's important to be prepared. Children should always be buckled up. In the right seat, the right booster seat for their age, their height and weight, every ride, every time. A properly installed child safety seat can reduce the risk of injury by as much as 71% for infants and 54% for our toddlers. Atlantic County Sheriff's Office is definitely here to help. We have certified child passenger safety seat technicians available available to properly install or check the position of your car seat at no charge. For more information, please call 609-909-7200 or visit acsheriff.org.
4th of July savings are here at the Home Depot with up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery like GE Profile. Simplify your routine with GE Profile appliances, from refrigerators with autofill pitchers and multiple dispensing options to all-in-one washer-dryer combos that can wash and dry a full load in under 2 hours. Shop 4th of July savings on top brand appliances now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Town Square Media has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Get these great deals today. Get a $50 gift card for just $25 at the Ravioli House or Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. Get these great deals right now at seizethedeal.com. Don't wait any longer. Chances are these deals will sell quickly. For more info on these great deals, go to seizethedeal.com.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I want my picks back, and I want David Putnam.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All my picks back, and I want David Putnam just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already?
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch Studios on 97.3 ESPN. We'll check back at the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. But right now, next Saturday, we will be back in Sea Isle City for the Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament, Conor Barwin's foundation, and to talk more about the event and much more. Jesse Rendall is joining us. He is the executive director, and he's here in the Dr. Squatch Studios on 97.3 ESPN. Jesse, appreciate you jumping on today. How's it going?
Good, Josh. How are you? It's great to be back talking to you again about the tournament this year. Very excited about the event coming up next week. What's going on?
Well, it's interesting because, this area, they love the Eagles. And I feel like, a guy like Conor Barwin, it's amazing that a guy like him, the man wasn't even playing on the Super Bowl teams, but people see him after winning the championship this year, and I've heard people telling him, yelling at him, "Go Birds," right? Being like, so excited they won a championship, and he's just part of the front office now, right? So it's like, It's amazing the passion people have in this area for the Eagles, and I think that's parlayed into what you guys are doing with the Make the World Better Foundation.
Yeah, I actually feel great for Conor. Anybody who followed his career knows that he actually left the Eagles right the year before they won the Super Bowl, and then he left the Rams. He went out to the Rams for 1 year, and then he left them, and they won the Super Bowl. So he never got the chance to play in that game. But having worked closely with Conor and become a friend of his and just known him for so long, watching how hard he works for the Eagles on a day-to-day basis in his role as director of player development, getting that Super Bowl, I'm sure it wasn't like being on the field, but it was close. There's actually a clip from the Super Bowl after, I believe it was the dagger, where he pushes Nick Sirianni and almost levels him on the field. So, Conor was there for every second of that. I know how hard he worked to get that. And so I felt like it was a special moment for him, considering how close he had come as a player and as a Philadelphian, since he's really become one.
Now, Jesse, people obviously will know your name, Jesse Rendall, because of your father, right? Yeah. So, tell folks about how you got involved with Conor Barwin's foundation.
Right. Well, I do understand that sports fans might know me from my father, former Mayor Ed Rendall, who was a longtime sports analyst, if you can call it that, on Eagles Post Game Live. But I'm hoping maybe your listening audience knows me. If you'll notice, I'm wearing the Heritage Surf polo here. My first job was at Heritage Surf and Sport in Sea Isle City. I was a member of the surf team, have surfed competitively over the years. And so the Jersey Shore area meant a ton to me growing up. I had spent half of my life there and half my life in Philly, which is often kind of challenging. But yeah, honestly, it's so exciting to be able to have an event down at the shore where we can bring all the people that love the Eagles down there out to support what we do. And a lot of the people that support us in Philly that, kind of had the same situation as me and spent a lot of time down there.
Before we get to the pickleball tournament in general, kind of give people a little background about, what the organization has been doing over the years. Because I think, obviously for us down here, the pickleball tournament in Sea Isle is such an exciting event. It's so cool to see Conor and all the different guys who come out for the event each year, Jesse. But, overall, the organization, you guys are doing amazing work helping communities.
Yeah, so the organization was founded back in 2013. Conor and his mom started what is now the Make the World Better Foundation. Another guy, a good friend of mine by the name of Jeff Tubbs, was working in Philadelphia and doing some neighborhood revitalization projects there. And I actually was a friend of Jeff's. And long story short, we teamed up with Conor and we started revitalizing public parks in Philly, working with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. And we just finished our 4th project, which was a huge $20 million project in partnership with the City of Philadelphia's Rebuild Initiative. It's called the Vera Rec Center, which in Grace Ferry. And like I said, that was our 4th project. And so the work has really been always about the idea of trying to make the world a better place by improving these amazing facilities that are used by such amazing people in the community to help, mentor kids and, teach kids so many important lessons. So we've been doing great work at many parks throughout the city for many years now. Conor has always been on the forefront of that work, doing a great job.
So again, the pickleball tournament is back in Sea Isle this year. Last year we were out there, 97.3 ESPN. So we'll be down there next Saturday. The locker room with Billy Schwein from 10 to noon, then hanging with Hennig from 12 to 3 on 97.3 ESPN on site. Now, last year, Jesse, it was a little wild, right? Because I think that, and I don't want to speak for you, but I almost felt like, the amount of people who just showed up, right, was almost like, you were just like looking around. I saw the look on your face at one point. You were just like, I got work to do. Don't talk to me. Like, so, and that's a bad thing. It's a good thing. All those people showed up for the event last year. So are we expecting even bigger and better this year?
Yeah, well, it's a blessing and a curse. This will be our 3rd annual pickleball tournament. The first year we started it, we had like 28 teams, and there's 7 courts there in Sea Isle. And so that was a perfect number. It was super manageable. Last year we had just under 50 teams, which, was a lot more complicated. And this year we're headed towards upwards of 60. And so really like setting up, you'd be surprised. The first year we had this, like a pickleball pro that handled it. But last year I did it myself, figuring out who's playing who, when, it's like a matrix. So that was one of the hardest parts, is doing that, keeping it on schedule, keeping it moving. And everybody wants to play, so I get a lot of last minute requests, a lot of players that show up out of nowhere, media members, but it's all fun. And I think the timing on this was really good for us because people really enjoy pickleball. I mean, it's really like the perfect sport, if you will, for an event like this, where it's about, also socializing with people and coming out and supporting an organization. It's not too serious, but you can also try hard at the same time. So it's just a great day. Really looking forward to the tournament and then the after party at Dockside on Park, which is going to be great too. And that event, the after party is open to anybody who wants to come. You can find out more information. I'm going to give the website right now because I'm going with it. Okay. So it's mtwb.org/event/pickleball. You can find out all the information you need there. You can get your link to get after party tickets, so on and so forth. So
now, yes. And of course, people can follow you on Instagram as well at MTWB. Easy for me to say. You're much better you're much smoother at that than I am.
Yeah.
I don't work for the government, Jesse. I'm not great with acronyms. So.
I hear you. At MTWB Foundation. There you go.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. So the other thing last year was you guys had some pretty cool players show up. But one of the players that showed up is the defending champion, Bo Allen and Jake Elliott, which for those who don't know, Jake Elliott may be the greatest athlete on the Eagles, actually. Right. And so are we anticipating the defending champs to come back this year?
One of the hard things about having an event at this particular time, down at the Jersey Shore, it's not easy to get people to commit. And Conor knows this because every year, we're talking to get players to come. And it's always a last minute thing about who shows up. Last year, I didn't even really know that Jake and Bo were going to come until the last couple of days. And then you're really not even giving it justice to what these guys did. They came in and blitzed the advanced division, which is a lot of really good pickleball players. So Jake and Bo were not messing around at all. And Bo had his shirt off and was like the biggest. It was just Jake hit a behind the back shot that went like viral on social media. It was great. I couldn't have asked for a better situation for the event. This year, my understanding is that Jake is definitely coming. I'm not sure if Bo's coming, so I don't know if he's got a new teammate up his sleeve or what his plan is.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we've got a variety of different players and even some media personalities that are scheduled to come, but it's always, like I said, up to the last minute. You never know what you're going to see at the tournament. The first year, the tournament ended with Conor and his wife Laura playing Jason Kelsey and Kylie Kelsey, right? So, and that was just before Jason kind of went to the next level. But you never know what you're going to see. And at the same time, it's about supporting a good cause. We're trying to raise as much money as we can because the money that we raise at the tournament is going to go directly to, supporting our operations and, doing the next park revitalization that we're going to do. So we hope that people want to come out because they're supporting a good cause and because it's fun. The tournament itself is great. You get to watch, you can come in and watch. We got a DJ, we set up in the promenade across from the courts. You guys are there doing live radio, which is fantastic. So that's fun. And then the after party is always a great time because everyone gets to let loose a little bit. Dockside is great. We're going to be out on the dock. We got a DJ there. We're going to have an awesome raffle and auction. And I'll just plug a couple things there.
Sure.
My buddy Brian Heritage is always nice enough to give us a surfboard. So we give a surfboard away every year. Dave Spadaro, MTWB board member and Eagles Insider, is auctioning off another training camp package. And I happened to be at training camp last year when the family that won was there. And I'm telling you,
cool.
Dave takes you around and he gives you like a great tour. It is not just like hanging out at the training camp. So, a lot of fun components of it. And it's just great. I enjoy doing it because it brings together everybody that I love in Philly, people down the shore. It's a fantastic event.
Well, if Dave's wandering around on next Saturday, I'll have to grab him and bring him over to the table to have him jump on because we are the Eagles radio affiliate down here in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Jesse, speaking of Philadelphia, you also have the YouTube show City Pigeons that you're a part of. Selfishly, I watch just because it's just entertaining. I mean, it doesn't even matter what you guys say half the time. But tell folks about that project because that's a hilarious shtick you guys got.
I'm glad you asked about that because I was actually, I've been in and around this business long enough to know if you tune in a little bit, to the show you're going to be on, it helps with conversation. So this is a side tangent, but I tuned in and I was listening to the interview with Marcus Smith, and I'm sitting here in a Marriott in Pittsburgh where I've been since Wednesday. I'm at my son's baseball tournament. And today we had a game at 8:00. And we don't know if we have another game. We might play tomorrow. I don't know when I'm coming back to Philly, let alone getting down to the beach. And I'm just thinking, I'm listening to Marcus Smith. I'm keeping it positive. You know what I mean? He's right. I mean, it's all about positive thoughts. So I'm trying to stay positive here in the Marriott in Pittsburgh. But no, City Pigeons, a couple years ago, just wanted to do something with friends. I've always been, like I said, kind of in and around the sports media. My dad obviously was involved for many years. So we just started up a podcast, but really it was more about a group of friends coming together, and we get together roughly once a week. It gets harder and harder with the baseball schedules and everybody having, actual things to do. But luckily our wives let us get together and have fun with that. We got a spot in Philly that we record our shows. So, and I just tap into the network and bring on guys that are, from the Philly sports media. Conor's been on, whatever, anybody that wants to come on and talk. And we just goof around. I got a couple really good, funny characters with me on it. And, as doing these things it's a labor of love. It's not easy, but, you're a pro here doing it every day. And I think this is a new show for you, right? 12 to 3.
Yeah. So this is the first Hanging with Hennig. I was actually on Saturdays from 2016 to 2021.
Okay.
And then I was doing the daily show for a while, and now we're shifting into a new media tier, I guess you could call it, where as you see, I got a laptop next to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything myself over here. So, but like you said, it's a labor of love, right?
Absolutely. Well, congrats, and I'll definitely be tuning in when I'm down. But anyone wants to check out City Pigeons, it's just City Pigeons Podcast. Check it out at City Pigeons Pod, social media. We're just goofing around, having a good time, talking about sports, and we're often down at the games, setting up tailgates, and just having fun with the people.
See, my favorite part is I think it's at least once per episode, at least one episode every ones I've seen. Right? You guys say at some point, all right, guys, make sure you actually lean into the mic so we can hear you. Like,
exactly.
I always laugh when you do that because it's just like you're like the voice of reason, just like interjecting back into the middle of the chaos.
Well, I made a mistake. We started with 3 guys and now we have 6 somehow. And I just kept bringing people into the fold. and we'll be sitting in different areas, and the guys still don't understand when they turn to talk to me that they're not talking into the microphone. And we've been over it. But these guys, I love them. They don't watch a lot of tape. They're not paying much attention. They're just having a good time, and we love it. We just wanted to shoot from the hip. But if they could talk into the mic, very helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. Very helpful. Really quick before I let you go, I got to get your thoughts because Eagles, we mentioned 2 championships in the last 8 years. Did you ever think as a Philly sports fan that you would see this?
Man, it feels weird. I'm going to be honest with you because I just felt like I identified as a completely anxious, neurotic, oppressed fan that had only had my heart totally ripped out over and over. I've had this moment over the past couple of weeks, because football tends to kind of go away. The football season lasts longer when we go to the Super Bowl, obviously, but you don't think about it as much. And then every once in a while, I'll just think, oh my gosh, the way that we won that game was so dominant. And by the way, I'm out here in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? I'll give you a funny anecdote. I'm in the bathroom. I went to the Pirates game last night. By the way, that's the most beautiful stadium. I mean, I really do wish we had a downtown stadium. And look, the arena thing with the Sixers wouldn't have been the same. I'm talking like, skyscrapers out right field, on the river. It's fantastic. If you get a chance, definitely go check out a game. Like if Phillies are playing, you should go check out a game. But I'm in the bathroom and a guy comes in. They're playing the Rangers. The guy comes in. He goes, "You think we're going to come back?" And I go, "Buddy, I'm from Philly." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Well, I do have respect for you guys and how you won the Super Bowl and this, that, and the next." I said, "Oh, thanks." I said, "All I got to say is go Birds." And he's like, "Oh, man," so look, it's great. It feels great to know that we won that game and the way we won it. It just feels validating. Like we don't have to kind of winning the first one was fantastic, get the monkey off our back, but it just feels like legit now, like we have respect, which is kind of what we always wanted. But now that we have it, it feels weird. So look, I'll take it. I'm very excited about watching them put the banner down with the Cowboys. That's going to be great. I know the City Pitches crew will be out there all day getting ready for that. So we're just excited about this year coming up, excited to be a Birds fan. It's a good time to be a sports fan in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that ballpark is amazing in Pittsburgh, but that organization is run by an idiot. So, I mean.
Well, I'm sitting there. I didn't even know. I look up their record. There's 16 games under 500, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing all the intro stuff. And I'm just like, how do you get excited about this? And I just can't imagine. Now, granted, we had so many years without the Phillies making the playoffs.
Yep.
I think in Philly, we just kind of sadly, we just kind of tune it out a little bit, not completely, but the excitement isn't there. But yeah, I was just sitting here thinking, man, we got the Phillies that have been so competitive and looking great after last night. The Eagles have done what they've done. I don't want to get into Sixers, but at least they've been relevant,
Right.
So as I'm sitting there, I'm just thinking, gosh, can you imagine being a fan of this organization? And everywhere I looked, there was an NL, division championship sign of some kind. So I felt kind of bad for them, but the Phillies got to get one. All right. The Phillies got to get one. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, we need Dombrowski to make a move or two at the deadline. That's what it comes down to, because, I've said numerous times, Jesse, here on 97.3 ESPN, Dombrowski needs to get off his perch. Stop telling us how great he is at building a roster and how the team is talented. And remember the comment last year, we have plenty of all-stars. Well, you obviously don't have enough because you haven't won a championship, right? So he's got to get off his high horse and get to work.
Well, where did the All-Stars get you, right? And I don't think, do they have anybody that's going to make the All-Star team this year after having, 7 last year?
They'll probably have 3. I think they're going to have 3.
Okay.
I think Turner might not be a star, but he'll get in for sure.
Late push. Yeah.
And then, Wheeler and probably Sanchez will probably be the 2 pitchers.
Yeah, Sanchez has done well. Well, yeah, it's been tough. This team's just killing me, looking like, 1 week it's like forget about it. The next week, Absolutely, I just can't take it, But I can't. I heard a stat earlier that said when the Rangers won the World Series, they lost 10 games in August, right before they won the World Series. So I don't know if it matters at all. Like just get in, and then don't go absolutely cold and have your bullpen fall apart. Two things that I'm very worried about as we speak. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Next Saturday, Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament, Sea Isles City at the pickleball courts on the bay, right next to JFK Boulevard. Jesse, tell the folks one more time about, even if they're not playing in the tournament, how they can contribute.
Well, I'll say this. Although we don't have any individual teams left, we will still take sponsors up to the last minute. So if you're hearing this and you're interested, you can reach out to us at theteam@mtwb.org. That's the general email that will get us. And you can still purchase after-party tickets, all of which are very helpful for us in terms of raising money. And if you show up to the after-party, you can bid on auction items and you can buy raffle tickets, and we're going to have a lot of really good stuff. So there's lots of ways to get involved. For more information, check out mtwb.org/event/pickleball. That's where you can find all the info. And we want to see as many people out there as possible. It should be a great day. Hoping for good weather. It looks good right now so far. So ready to rock.
Well, I think all the bad weather's done. I think we got the end of May through early June felt more like April and May than it did summertime. So I think we got it out of our system finally.
Well, I'm in the middle of the prime baseball dad, period of my life. And so I'm so angry, games getting canceled and sitting there freezing at games in late May and early June. And then, it's going to be hot as tonight and tomorrow. So I'm just generally angry about the weather, but that's why I got to get back down to Ocean City, get my feet in the sand, come over, see my people at Heritage, do all the things that I like to. I got to get back into that mode. I'm looking forward to it. And, the tournament's been a great way to really get the summer started. Thank everybody that supported over the years, and anybody that's interested in getting involved, feel free to reach out.
Jesse Rendall, Executive Director of Make the World Better Foundation. Of course, we will be out there at 97.3 ESPN. Billy Schweim in the locker room from 10 a.m. to noon, hanging with Hennig from 12 to 3. 5 hours we'll be out there hanging out with everybody at the pickleball tournament in Sea Isle City. Jesse, appreciate you making some time to jump on, and I'm sure we'll be talking during the week.
Thank you. I'm just looking forward to hearing Billy Schweim's voice. You know what I mean? That I just want to hear that. That's beautiful.
Is that the chorus of summer for you? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Well, we have all these legendary characters. I was in the car the other day with my wife, and Paul Jolovitz came on. She said, "What's wrong with that guy's voice?" I'm like, it's good for radio. It sounds good. So Billy Schweim that's like legendary voice. I love it.
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely. Jesse, good luck with the baseball tournament out there in Pittsburgh.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch studios here on 97.3 ESPN. Yeah, Billy Schweim's voice from a mile away. You know that voice when you hear it. Billy Schweim, there he is. Yeah, Billy will be out there. It's going to be a crowded show next week. Obviously, we'll have special guests popping on throughout the day on Billy Schweim show from 10 a.m. to noon. And, of course, 12 to 3 with me hanging with Hennig. We'll be all on location at the pickleball courts in Sea Isle City. Dave Klemick from Klemick Performance will be coming out to join us. Also, Mr. Negadelphia, PJ Corda, he'll be joining us out there. So it's going to be a full cast of characters and more. Your Jesse said, we don't always know, he said, who's going to show up for these events. You might want to tune in just for that, just the surprise, right? I remember last year, I didn't know certain guys were going to be there or not. So, literally, we were just running around. We saw people, and we're like, hey, can you come on for a few minutes? We just grab guys and bring them over to the table. So we expect similar excitement and chaos again this year down in Sea Isle City. Of course, again, supporting a great cause, Make the World Better Foundation. You can follow them on social media for more information about how you can contribute. Wrap up the show, Hanging with Hennig. Couple final thoughts of the inaugural Hanging with Hennig show, Saturdays, 12 to 3 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, and we are streaming live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig.
It's Phillies baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Heated rivals go head-to-head.
Kyle Schwarber, and this place is going bananas.
The Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets.
It's out of here! Juan Soto stops and celebrates.
Coverage begins today at 6:30 Eastern and tomorrow at 6 Eastern.
It's Phillies Mets on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with? It's you probably haven't even questioned what bar soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Town Square Media has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Get these great deals today. Get a $50 gift card for just $25 at the Ravioli House or Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. Get these great deals right now at seizethedeal.com. Don't wait any longer. Chances are these deals will sell quickly. For more info on these great deals, go to seizethedeal.com.
Hello, this is Anthony, Division Manager with Last Bite Mosquito and Tick Control. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your summer. Last Bite's expert treatments keep mosquitoes and ticks out of your yard so you can enjoy the outdoors worry-free. Visit lastbitemosquito.com to learn more.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you gotta hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales. Have you heard? Nobody beats a Bennett Chevy deal. And I mean nobody. All this month, Bennett Chevy is selling new Chevys at the GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you as much as 20% on your new Chevy. That's right. You keep all the rebates and you pay the same GM supplier employee price we pay. That's up to 20% in savings. And you can save even more with available 0% financing. Thinking about buying pre-owned? Well, again, nobody beats Bennett Chevy. Just bring us any clunker you can, and we'll give you a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned on our lot. Yes, I said a minimum 10 grand for your junk. Who else is going to make fantastic offers like Bennett Chevy? Nobody. That's who. Plus, you'll never experience any haggles or hassles or need to negotiate because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Who is right? You are an ox and a moron.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hello? Get back in the room.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here, final segment, 3-hour tour. Saturday afternoons, we'll be here each Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. It was a great first show. Thanks again. Jesse Rendall will be out there for the Make the World Better Pickleball Tournament next Saturday. The Locker Room with Billy Schwein from 10 a.m. to noon, followed by me hanging with Hennig from 12 to 3 p.m. next Saturday down in Sea Isle City. Wow, that's my town, Sea Isle City. For those who don't know, I spent a good portion of my life living in Sea Isle. My family, it seemed like everybody migrated down there at one point. It was kind of interesting. But anyway, Sea Isle is my town at the shore. So we'll be down there. It's good to be connecting with Jesse and the great work they're doing with Conor Barwin's foundation. Also, thanks to Marcus Smith. What a great conversation with him. I love the insight from him about, hey, he said, when I came out of college, he says, they asked me to do something completely different in the NFL, something that was not, he said, my skill set. He said, but by the time that I got Jim Schwartz he said, and I was in a better system. He says, then injuries happened, and he says, and that's kind of the beginning of the downward spiral of his life personally, right? And that really led him to hit rock bottom, recalibrate, lean on his faith, and come back better than ever as, a guy who's helping other athletes now. So again, the Circle of M is the nonprofit organization for him. And then great conversation with Oscar Buttigieg, because we got some really great insights from him. He talked about, he said, hey, if the Phillies keep playing this way, we don't need Bryce Harper back anytime soon. Let Harper take all the time he needs. TBD that situation, because between him and Nola, if the guys who are playing now keep doing their job, nobody cares when they come back. Not nobody cares, but it's not like we're dying without them. Look, you lost 9 out of 10 games at one point. Your Jesse Rendall mentioned it. It's the idea for the Phillies that we know in baseball history, whether it's the Texas Rangers a couple of years ago, whether it's 2019 Washington Nationals, whether it was the 2015 Kansas City Royals, the 2010 San Francisco Giants, I can go on and on and on. You don't need to be winning 105, 110 games to win a championship. Just do what you got to do to get yourself right during the regular season to get to the postseason. And by the way, speaking of the Eagles, we got a month of training camp starting tomorrow. July 22nd, veterans and rookies must report. And I just got to say, this offseason is incredibly exciting because when they won the championship the first time, I felt like we were all just so out of our minds. Just like, I can't believe this team won a championship. And then we came back down to earth and we realized, wait, we lost some guys? Did we replace him? Did we not replace him? What are we doing here? And then the whole Frank Reich getting hired last minute by the Colts after they thought they had Josh McDaniel to be the head coach. It felt like the 2018 season there was a chance to do something. But, we've heard numerous reports that team, it just wasn't the same vibe it was the year before. The team this year feels like a completely different vibe. It feels completely like they are way more dialed in. They are way more engaged. You heard the comment from Zach Ball. I don't know if I have time to pull that up. I don't have time to pull it up right now. But, he said, he thinks they could be better this year defensively than they were last year. Because last year they were basically just learning everything. And now they can take it to another level. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in. Thanks to the anonymous texter who said, great show, Josh. Well, that's a great text from an anonymous texter. If you guys don't leave your name, I can't acknowledge you. Everybody else left their name. Jordan Galloway, Andrew in Summers Point, Thea in Mays Landing, Glenn in Absecon. I'm moving the text right now. Paul in Millville, George Summers Point, Steve Ventnor, Jeff from Ocean City, Cole from LBI. Everyone else left their name. One guy didn't leave their name. Hope everyone's having a great rest of your weekend. Stay hydrated. It's going to be hot out there. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back with Mike Gill producing the Sports Bash during the week here on 97.3 ESPN. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Coming up on Monday's show, we'll take a look back at the